In this video, I will teach you everything that you need to know in order to set up and use HubSpot like an expert. I will explain what HubSpot is and how to pick the right plan. You will see how HubSpot works and learn the best ways to use it. Now, I'm Drew Brockbank, owner of Brockbank Consulting. We set up CRM and ERP systems and train people to use them. And we've done this for over 180 organizations across the world. To get started with HubSpot, head on over to HubSpot.com and then click on pricing. We're going to start here with the customer platform. So the free plan here is where I suggest you start if you don't know what to get, but you want to get on HubSpot. Start with the free plan. And then for the path of least resistance, start with a free plan and just upgrade to the paid plans as you want to use features that you know that you need. Okay, so that's the most simple way to do this inside of HubSpot. You might be thinking to yourself, well, how do I know if I need to upgrade? Well, while you're using the system, it will tell you, hey, this feature, this is only available in the starter plan or in the professional plan or in the enterprise plan. It will let you know. So that's the easiest way to do it. Now, if you want to be a little more proactive and you're like, look, we want to get the right plans so that as we use the second we're in the system, we have the capabilities and the features that we need. That's a different route. I would scroll down and you can see between free tools, starter, professional, and enterprise, the different capabilities and features that are available in each plan. Now, this is a lot to look at. This can be overwhelming. So what I suggest that you do if you want to be more proactive is you write out every step in the process and area of your business that you want supported by HubSpot. So from marketing into sales into service, I'd write out step by step, how do you run your organization? And that will help you to go step by step and then draw a line from the step in your process or area of your business that you want supported to a specific feature or capability inside of HubSpot so that you can justify purchasing the plan. Okay, so that is a lot of work. If you want to know more detail on how to go about that exactly, look at my How to Build Systems Masterclass that I've created, where I show you exactly how I do this for my clients. And I also show you live examples from clients who were kind enough to give us permission to actually show what we did for them. So if you want to check that out in more detail, you can. But honestly, I would suggest starting for free for most of you and then upgrading to these plans as needed. As there's certain features that you know that you need, then you can upgrade. You don't have to go with the customer platform, right? You'll notice this includes multiple products. So you have Smart CRM, marketing, sales, all here. We'll go over that in a second. You can create a bundle. So you can decide, hey, we want the Marketing Hub here, just on Starter, but we need the professional edition of Sales Hub. And then we need the professional version of Data Hub and we want the enterprise version of Commerce Hub. You can do that. Also, you can choose if you're going to pay monthly or if you're going to pay annually. And then you can choose the different seats or number of users that you can allow per hub as well. So each of these hubs have their different ways of pricing things. If you want a further breakdown on that, you can head on over to the CRM section and then the marketing section, and it will tell you how things are priced per hub. So that helps you to understand what you're getting yourself into every time you add a new hub. You do not have to add every single hub. You can just start with the hubs that you want. You're not locked into every single hub if you don't want to. With that, that is how you can get started with HubSpot for free and then get access to the tools that you need as you grow with the paid plans.
It's really important that you understand the CRM inside of HubSpot. The CRM is the heart of the HubSpot system. If you don't understand the CRM correctly, then you're probably not going to use HubSpot correctly. The CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And if you're not familiar, the way you should think about a CRM is like you think about the Contacts app on your phone. When you want to message or call somebody that you have some sort of relationship with, then you go to your Contacts app and you give them a call. Or you go to your texting app and you see your contacts and you can enter a text thread. But a CRM for a business is more than that. It's not just the contacts with the first name, last name, email, phone number. It's all the different information that's important to have in order to run your business or your organization. So think about it like the Contacts app, But it's not just the contacts, it's the companies, the deals, tickets, all the different record types that are important for you to understand. You'll notice in the CRM section, we have contacts, companies, deals, tickets, orders, projects. What are these? These are different record types, also referred to as objects. So everything above this line is an object or a record type. Everything below it is a bit different. Okay, so calls, meeting, tasks, these are still objects. We have inbox, a little different. We're going to go over that in more detail. Segments, this is different ways that we can group our contacts together. Playbooks, message templates, snippets. We're going to go over these things in more detail later. So with that, this is the CRM section, and we're going to go more into detail on each of these record types and everything below this line. It's important that you understand the HubSpot user interface. The better you understand the interface, the more you can get done. So we're going to show you everything that you need to know in order to use HubSpot according to best practices, starting with the absolute basics. So we're going to cover everything in the sidebar here, along with everything in the top navigation. So we're on the homepage, which is the best place to start. And you'll notice I have meetings here, which are the meetings that I have to attend for the day, the different tasks or the things I need to get done for the day. And I can customize this. So let's just say for whatever reason that meetings and tasks weren't as important to me. I could put meetings down at the bottom here, could change the order of it. I can customize this and put my most recent activity at the top. Once I save this and then refresh, you'll notice the changes made to the home screen. Now I can see the tasks here and my most recent activity at the top. You can change this so that it looks the way that you want. But the goal of the homepage is to get a quick understanding of the most important parts of HubSpot related to you. Okay, so at a glance, you want to see what's important from HubSpot. Moving from the home page down, we have the bookmarks section. The idea of the bookmarks section is very simple. There are different parts of HubSpot that you will likely frequently visit. Instead of having to go through the menu and find it, you can just hover over the different section, add the bookmark. So I'm going to add a couple bookmarks here so that you can see as we go to the bookmark section, I now have the commerce overview and contacts. I can very quickly click from the bookmarks over to these sections. Instead of having to hunt them down through the menus, I can quickly access them. So the idea of the bookmark section is to get quick access to the parts of HubSpot that you're visiting the most or that are the most important to you. So I'll save that so that now you understand the bookmark section. So now you're going to see here this little line, which indicates that things are now changing with this sidebar. With the sidebar, these icons have to do with something different than homepage and bookmarks. Now we're getting to the CRM. The CRM is the heart of the HubSpot system. The CRM typically has the most important records to do with HubSpot. And right now, we're only going to cover the basics or the overview of each of these sections, because later in this video, in this training, we're going to go over every single one of these, what we call objects. An object is something in real life that's being represented digitally. We're going to go over all of these in way more detail later in this training. So as an overview, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And the idea is that we're able to store information here so that we can better help somebody along their customer journey. So customer relationship management, it's us trying to assist the customer through their customer journey by storing their information and doing something about it so we can best help them. We have marketing. Marketing is going to cover, and you'll notice the difference. We go from CRM then to marketing, and then we have sales, and then we have service. Okay, so you'll notice once we get to marketing, as we work our way down, we're actually going through the customer journey phase by phase. Okay, we'll talk more about that. But marketing is attracting somebody, a customer or a prospect into your business. So how do we attract people? How do we get people to learn about what we're selling? Well, we do marketing, things like search engine optimization. If someone searches for me on Google, they search HubSpot expert or CRM implementation expert. I want to show up there so I could do SEO. Or if I have an email list, I can send out different emails. But when I send out an email or they click to my page, I want there to be a helpful asset there. I want it to be a good website page, or I want them to watch a good video from my email. Well, great. That's where content comes into play. These are helpful assets or things that we can have somebody experience, like a landing page or a video or a podcast or a case study, so that we can help somebody get to the sales phase. Okay. So if someone watches a really good video tutorial of HubSpot, they might go to my website page and then book a sales call. Okay. So then we get to sales. These are the conversations that we're having as we are deciding if we want to buy something. Okay. So with sales, you can see a meeting scheduler. I can put a meeting scheduler on a website page or a landing page so that someone can book a call. We can have a conversation. We can talk about the details of actually purchasing the thing, the service, or the product, or both. From here, we have commerce. So commerce are the financial records, like sending a quote or sending an invoice. They're the financial records that have to do with the customer journey, typically with sales. And then from there, we have service. So once someone buys something from us, we don't just want to say good luck. We want to help them have success with the thing that they purchased, whatever that might look like. So HubSpot has the service section. We can chat with people that have bought something from us. So if they have an issue or they have questions, they can still get support. Okay. We still want to help someone after they purchase the thing from us. You can create AI agents here to assist you. You can create a knowledge base of everything you're learning so that as you get frequently asked questions, you create articles, templates, things that you can do to better help people. Quickly here with service, usually breaks up into two categories. You have reactive support. So if someone has an issue and then they send you an email or a message saying, hey, I have an issue, can you help me? And then you react, you help them. Or you can be proactive and you could say, I've gotten this question 5 or 6 times now. So I'm going to create an article and I'm going to publish it on our website so that instead of people having to email me or message me to get an answer, you can go to my website, look at the articles for frequently asked questions. So there's proactive or customer success. Hey, when someone buys this from me, I'm actually going to email them with these 3 different videos so that they can go through the video training and have more success. So that's proactive. Customer success is more proactive. Chatting with someone after they've messaged you through a help desk, that's more reactive. Both are good. I'm trying to help you better understand the service section. Data management. As someone goes through marketing and sales and service and everything in between, we're collecting lots of different records, lots of different data. We don't just collect data for fun. We're collecting it so that we can make better decisions and understand what's going on. So we go to Data Agent. This is one way that you can better understand the data that you're collecting. Another thing here with data is HubSpot doesn't exist in a vacuum or by itself. There's usually other technology that you're using to run your organization. That's where data integration comes into play. We can integrate with other applications here in order to have success with HubSpot and make sure that HubSpot is playing well with all the other different technologies that we're using. Much more to the data management section, but that's a quick overview. We have automation. The idea of automation is there's different steps in the customer journey. There's things they are doing, and there's things that we are doing in an organization to help the customer cross the finish line. And we want to make sure that instead of doing every single thing manually, the things that can and should be automated are. So we have this automation section so we can build these workflows and automate what we need to in order to give people the best experience possible. Then we have reporting. Like I was saying before, we're not just collecting this data so that we can collect data to have data. We are collecting the data so that we can understand it better. We create reports so that we can say, how much traffic did we have month to month? How many deals did we close last month? It helps us understand things better. But then we can graduate reports into dashboards so we can see multiple reports in one place. So instead of jumping from report to report, I jump to one dashboard and I can see multiple reports in one place. Then we have goals. So as we are trying to hit different targets in our organization, we can track our progress to different goals in that section. And then we hit another delimiter or separator right here. Okay, so now things are changing with this sidebar. What's changing here? Now we're jumping into AI and some developer tools, more advanced development here. So HubSpot's AI system is what's referred to as Breeze. Okay, so if we click here, you can see that there's we have a Breeze overview, all these different things that Breeze can do. We have the Breeze Assistant, which to show you really quickly, it's also here at the top right. Click here, and it's similar to your favorite AI tools like Gemini or ChatGPT. You can ask it a question, and it will give you answers, and it has access to HubSpot resources so that you can get the help that you need there. But then you can also create agents to automate the work that you're doing. So that is the Breeze section here. There's Breeze Studio. This is what allows us to create these agents that do work for us. Again, we'll go over all of this in much more detail. We have development, and this development section is where we have advanced tools to make HubSpot work the way that we want it to. So that's the overview of the development section. We can also expand the navigation here, so we can actually just read each of these, and then we can collapse the navigation. So we can see it either way. It's whatever's most helpful for you. So I'm going to collapse this because I prefer to have that collapsed. And now we're going to transition from the sidebar over to the top navigation. So starting with the search bar here, if I do Command K because I am on a Mac here, you'll notice it activates automatically the top search bar. So Command K here, or I can just click here and I can look for stuff, or I can ask stuff here. So if I want to look for something in the settings menu, which we'll go over, I could look for import, hit enter, and now I have different tools here, different settings here, things from the Academy. Anything that's relevant to my search should pop up here. The search bar is a very helpful tool. Now I hit enter, so now I'm in this interface, which is bigger. But if I go back and I just look for import here, I actually don't have to hit enter. I can just click on import and it will take me to the right place. Okay, so that's what's really helpful there, is I can use this to look for records, look for different sections of HubSpot, and look for different settings. So that's what's helpful about the search bar. Make sure to use that. We also have to the right of that the quick create button. So I can create different records very quickly by hitting this button and then clicking on whatever object. An object is a record type. It is something in real life that is represented digitally. It's just a record type. And then I can create the record that I want right here. So it allows me to quickly create records instead of going through here, clicking on contacts, then creating new. I can go to the quick create button. Here is the upgrade section. So I can learn more about the different HubSpot hubs and products that they offer, so that I can either start a trial or I can better understand the pricing and then purchase the parts of HubSpot that I need so I can support my customer journey and my business in the way that I want. I can also talk to sales to learn more about, to have more serious discussions about what parts of HubSpot are going to be required and why I might need them. From here, you'll see at the top right, I have this call button. So this can connect with what's called a voice over IP, or it's better known as an internet phone. Once you set that up, you can connect your internet phone with HubSpot. You can make calls and auto track and log calls as well. Then we have this button at the top right. It looks like a little vendor shop in a marketplace. And this is the marketplace for HubSpot. It's where people build different extensions and apps. And it basically extends the capability of HubSpot. Think about it like the App Store for an iPhone. Apple doesn't make every single app. Third parties do. A third party is just a organization or person that isn't HubSpot, and they are making an application to extend the capability of what HubSpot can do for you. So you can look through those different apps and you can enhance your HubSpot portal there. We also have this question mark. This opens up the HubSpot Help Center and allows you to access different resources to better learn what's going on and get the support that you need. Okay, so they're doing a great job at practicing what they preach. They've got a service section here. They're being very proactive. Their knowledge base is their help center, right? So everything that they know, they've documented well. You can ask questions to learn. You can even go to their support, chat with support, email support, and much more. From here, we have the cog wheel, which is what you click on to get to the settings. And this settings menu allows you to access different sections of HubSpot so that you can configure HubSpot. When I say configure, I'm just saying, how do we make HubSpot work the way that we want or need it to work? So these are different sections we can go to in order to configure HubSpot. Then we have, I'll jump back to the homepage here. We have different notifications, and these notifications are where we go in order to best understand what's happening in the system and get aware of the different signals of what's happening there. Then we have our Breeze Assistant, a nice big section here at the top so that we can access Breeze. And Breeze allows us to ask different questions about HubSpot and other parts of our business and get the answers that we need. Okay, so very helpful to use Breeze there. The top right, we have the account information. So if I click here, I can see my profile and account, Drew Brockbank, the organization email or my email with the organization, profile and preferences. I can click there. I can go back to the classic theme, see more about my account, and then I can see much more information that's helpful regarding my account and profile. So with that, that is the basics of the HubSpot user interface. And the better you understand it, the more you can get done. It's important for you to understand the records view. Now I have gone to the CRM section, clicked on contacts. Contacts represents people. And this is where you can see all the different people in your HubSpot portal. So I'm going to add a contact here so that this makes more sense and you can actually see what's going on. We'll just do demo@gmail.com. Demo, and then we'll create. And you'll notice now that I'm inside of this record view. Now we want to focus on the records view with an S for now. So I'm going to jump back out of here. And now you can see one record. And we're going to add two so that we're staying true to this records with an S view. I'll do demo2@gmail.com. Do demo and then demo2. Of course, in your account, when this is being used properly, you're not going to have the names demo. That's completely fine. But I just want to show you what this account should start to look like, or what this records view should start to look like. So you'll notice there's two rows. It looks like a spreadsheet. We've got columns, which are the different data points, the different pieces of data we're capturing. And then we've got rows for each instance of the record type, or the different record within the record type. So a couple things we're going to break down here. First, at the top left, we've got contacts. And you'll notice as I click on contacts, I can see calls, cards, communications, companies, contacts. These are, if I click on companies as an example, this helps me to jump around the different record types that I have, okay? So instead of, just as an example here, I'll go back to contacts. Instead of looking here for commerce and searching for invoices, I can quickly jump to different record types by clicking on this top left section. Also, as I move to the right, you can see all contacts, newsletters, subscribers, unsubscribed, all customers. What are these? These are custom views, okay? So this allows me, this is nice. This is an advantage you have in HubSpot versus just using a spreadsheet. You can quickly go to saved views of your contacts information. So instead of being in a spreadsheet, having to make multiple spreadsheets for every single view, or creating different filters and having to refilter every time, you can save them and you have these different custom views right here. For example, this one is a system default, all contacts. We can just see everything. But if I wanted to see just newsletter subscribers here, I could click here, and because no contacts match that filter, it's not going to show up. But these filtered / custom views are very helpful to be able to jump from. I can also delete them if I want to, so that I don't muddy up the view up here. but I'm going to give you an example. So I'm actually going to jump into this record, and I'm going to go over to the lifecycle stage. We'll talk more about this later. I'm just going to mark this as a customer. I'm going to go back, and then I'll go over to all customers, and you'll see now there's a record here. So if I just want to see customers, I have my all customers view, and then I have all contacts. I can also go to this plus icon, and I can create a new view, a new custom view of the information. Why is this important? Well, not everybody wants to see everything all at once in the contacts section. Depending on who you are, you're going to want to just see certain records for a specific reason. So we're going to go to all customers here, and then we're going to go click here. We can either rename, we can clone, manage sharing. So manage who actually can access this. If you're the only person using your HubSpot system, this isn't going to be critical for you. But if you're adding people to your team, you're expanding, you manage multiple departments, something like that, yes, manage sharing is going to be important, or you can delete. But we're going to go to create new view here, and we're going to create a new table view. And from here, we can then put all contacts one, or we can replace this and just say customers. And this is a duplicate view, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of how this works. And then we can clone it. We can manage sharing again to decide who's going to be able to access it. And we can also delete it. But it's nice for you to be able to create multiple views here because as you do create a new view, it will help you to see the information in the most helpful way possible. You can also, as you'll notice here, as you create a new view, you can decide if it's going to be a table, which is viewing things like a spreadsheet. You can create a board, which helps you to see something. I'll show you here. In terms of a process from left to right, we're going to break that down more in just a moment. And then you'll also notice there's reports that you can create in Calendar. So different ways you can view a list of information or lots of different records. There's different ways to view it. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go back to all contacts here, and we have the list view that I want to take you through, and then we'll get into more advanced stuff. So first off, you're going to see this search bar. So similar to the search here, except now we're searching within this specific view that we're looking through. So I can do demo 2, hit enter, and now only demo 2 is showing up. So this allows us to better view what's going on down here, depending on what information we have listed. Then we have this section, which is table view. Our view type is table right now. Let's switch over to board view. The reason I like board view is now you're not just looking at your information, you're viewing your information in relation to a process. So now we can see the different stages or phases of a process, and the different records are now viewable as cards. And we're going to go, we'll go through that in more detail in a moment. We'll keep a table view for now. You can also go to table settings. So you'll notice as I click here, we have a menu pop up on the right. You can see 25 per page, 50, 100. I like to see more than less. So I'll click that. And then you can also make this more compact. We can do default or comfortable. Okay, it just is showing you how much space is here depending on what your preference is. You can also do zebra striping, which you can click on as a setting as well. So that is the different settings here for viewing the information that you want. If I go to board view, I can also click on settings, and then I can group the board the way that I want, okay? So it's the particular settings for the particular view that you have selected. We're gonna switch back to table view, go to edit columns. And when you go to edit columns, we can decide what data points are coming over. So I want you to think of table view as a spreadsheet. In a spreadsheet, your columns represent different data points, specific pieces of data you're collecting for the record. And then the rows are the different records in that record type, or we call that an instance. It's every instance of a record type. Now for the columns, we're deciding, okay, of all those different data points we've captured, look how many different data points, which ones do we actually want to see? So do we want to see 50 plus columns at the same time? Probably not. We typically just want to see the ones that are relevant for the view. But you can see as I click on these, I'm adding to my custom view the information that I want to see. So if I click on contact emails here, I'll apply that. And then you'll see now there's emails as well. We have emails. So we get to decide which columns show up and then how they show up. So if we want to adjust the order here, we can also do that. So if I want to move it to the top, great. Or I can remove it and then apply. So that is very helpful to be able to edit those columns. We have filters. So as we go into the filters, you're going to notice we're in all contacts, so there are no filters, but let's go into a custom view here. You'll notice there's one filter. So if I click here and go to Open Advanced Filters, we now see lifecycle stages any of customer. So it has to be a customer in order to show up here. So if you remember before, I went through this record and I edited the customer, or I updated the lifecycle stage to customer so that it would show up. Okay, and that can be helpful to filter what you're seeing, because right now for this example, right, we only have 2 records. Many people have way more than 2 records. That's why you need to filter down what you're looking at. Don't overwhelm yourself. You want to filter it down. Open Advanced Filters allows you to not only see the filters that have been created, but add additional ones so that you can see the information that you want. You can also click here and save as a segment, or you can clear all filters. Save as a segment, more for marketing purposes here, or for your, mostly for marketing, but it can be for many different purposes. You can see your segments here. Save as a segment allows you to take a filter, create a segment from it. A segment just allows you to communicate better to certain groups of people that you want to target, or you can clear all the filters as well. So that kind of defeats the purpose of the custom view, but now you'll see that there is no custom view. Then we can go back and say lifecycle stage is any of, and then we'll do customer. And now we're back. Now we have a filter. Sort, this is to determine how, if we have multiple records here, which ones are going to be at the top, which are going to be at the bottom. So we can go to sort, and then we can sort by different pieces of data here. So let's go back to all contacts, and we'll just sort here very quickly based on created date. And it's already there. We'll do oldest just to show you. And then we will switch back to sort here. And we'll do most recent, and you'll notice it flips every time we change it there. So that's how you can sort information. And you can also do that. You should be able to do that here. It's not going to make as much of a difference, obviously, because there's not multiple cards per column. That shows you how to sort this information. We have metrics. So we can see different KPIs or different metrics here, depending on what data is here. So contacts missing lead statuses too. We can see that automatically. And then that's just the default view of what we can see for metrics. We can also export this data. So if we need this into a spreadsheet so that we can manipulate it or look at it, or for whatever reason, we can export that data, which is great. We can also clone this view. So if we need to, maybe you want to clone it and then edit so that you have a base to start with for a custom view, you can certainly do that. And then you have your save option there. At the top here, you have these 3 dots at the top right. You can look at data quality, so you can see what's missing in your data. You can also edit properties. Properties are data points, right? Each of these columns, this is a property. It is a property of the specific record type. You can manage duplicates, fix formatting issues, restore records, and restore CRM changes, okay? So different options here, the 3 dots at the top right. We can also create a new contact from the top right. We can also import multiple contacts. So if you have a spreadsheet you want to bring into the system, we can certainly do that as well. So with that, I'm going to click here on metrics so we don't see this anymore. That brings us to the actual view below all the options that we have here. So we can look at it like a table. We can look at it like a board. This is my favorite way to view information. The only problem with this is this takes up more space. So if you have lots of records in each column, it can kind of get overwhelming. But what's great about this is you can also collapse different columns. So you're just seeing the certain parts of a phase. And then you can also see the number of records within each phase of a process as well. So that's really helpful. Then we also have your report view. So you can view things in terms of a report, which is helpful. So now we have this bar chart report that we're viewing things through, then a calendar view. So this is by created date, but you could filter this, or you could choose different date properties / data points in order to see this in the way that you want. Most of the time I see people using table view, and next to that board view, which is my favorite. So with that, that is the records view. It's how you look at different information in HubSpot the way that you want so that you can get the insights that you need. It's important for you to understand the record view. So I've gone from the CRM, clicked on contacts, and now I am looking at the records view. I can see multiple records. Just so you know, what I'm showing you here applies to all the different objects inside of HubSpot. So now I'm going to click on the name here to the left, not preview. Okay, so preview is great. It gives you a sidebar to view the record on the right-hand side, which is great. But we don't want to see it as a condensed sidebar on the right. We want to see the full record. So we can either click on view record here, or we can just click on the left-hand side of preview on the record name itself. And this is what helps us enter the record view. So if I want to go back to the records view, I can click on contacts. But here, you're going to notice at the top left, we have this section, and it allows us to do a couple things. So top right of this section, we have actions. So we can unfollow this record. We can view all the properties. The properties are right here in this section beneath. And properties are just data points. So it's us trying to understand, what's their life cycle, what's their email. Those are the different properties. So if I go to view all properties, you can see all the different properties there, not just the ones listed here. You can see all the different properties. There's so many different properties. And then there's properties. There's properties on properties. They're collapsed right here. You can see so much different information from one place. Okay, so those are the different properties or data points. When you think of properties, just think of a column in a spreadsheet. That's one of the easiest ways to think about it. You have view property history. Okay, so you can see what's changed with different properties there. And then you also can go to view association history, review associations. You can summarize. There's all these different options. Merge records. So if there are duplicates based on the email, you can merge, you can clone, you can delete, and you can export the contact data as well. So those are different actions you can take. You can also click on this pencil icon and we can change things here. So if I want to put Drew, I can do that. And now it's Drew demo, not demo. We're going to change that back. Just wanted to show you real quickly how that works. So now it's back to demo. We have job title, email, all that information we can change, or we can click here to go to more details. From here, we've got the email listed, and we can also copy that email to our clipboard with this icon. And we have notes, emails, calls, tasks, meetings. These are shortcuts to some of the most important things we can do within a contact, okay? So if I want to take a quick note, great, I click on that. And now as a pop-up, I can bring this around and create notes on this record, which is very helpful. I can also click on this to create emails, which is great. I can connect my email inbox, create emails there. I can call, connect my internet phone. I can create tasks, all these different records I want to create. I can do that. I can also enroll in a sequence. There's many other quick buttons I can click on in order to conduct different actions quickly on a record. Beneath that, we have key information. Okay, so in this section, we are able to see some of the many properties for this specific record type. Okay, so actions, customize properties, view all properties. So we can customize which ones are showing up here. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of 50 properties. If I want to add multiple, like a mobile phone or salutation, the state, region they're in, whatever I'd like, I can save that. You can see now mobile phones added there. If I want to further customize this, I can go to the settings. And we're going to talk about more of this section in just a bit. So I'm going to save that in just a moment. But with that, different actions, customize properties, I can add more or I can take them away, and I can change the order that they are in as well. So we're going to remove mobile phone number because we're just going to use phone number for now. I'm going to save that. And then also, just a quick thing, you can also revert to the system defaults if you're ever like, hey, this looks kind of messy. You also have view all properties. So here, I can just view every single property for this specific record, which is very helpful as well. I can hide blank ones so I can just see what's filled out as well, which is great. I can manage the properties as well. So if I want to further manage what's available, click on property settings here, and I can create other properties too. So these are custom properties. I can also create them with Breeze, so I can just explain what I'm needing and it will create it for me. But then I have different field types to collect the information that I need. So is this single line, multi-line? These are different kinds of property types so that I can collect the data in the appropriate way, okay? Most of these are self-explanatory, but you can create custom properties in order to play around with what's going to work for you. If you need a drop-down, multi-checklist, or multi-checkbox field, there's many different fields here to collect the data that you want in the way that you need. So that is that section. We're going to go back to the contacts, and I'm going to click here to the contact record. And here, going through the rest of the actions, you can also enrich a record, and enriching records allows you to use AI. You're seeing the AI symbol here within HubSpot. And enriching record takes information that you already have and says, okay, this is their email, this is their name. And then it can say, hey, I found them on LinkedIn. I looked through their email, or sorry, their website, and we're finding additional information about them. So I'll show you here. We'll do Drew, and we'll do Brockbank, and then we'll do Drew 123 at Brockbank Consulting, just to give you an example. And now, if I go over to enrich record, we can, it's not going to do it here because there's an error with lack of properties. But it could take this information and say, okay, this is Drew, this is his website, find me on LinkedIn, and then bring information from LinkedIn to fill out this other information. So it allows you to take limited information and expand upon it using the internet and whatever other tools that you want. So that's enriching records. You can fill smart properties too. So you can use AI to fill out your smart properties, gives you specific property information based on the organization or the contact you're in, based on your business too. Okay, so wanted to show you the different options there, the key information that's showing up and how to change that, the settings so that you can, the next part I wanted to show you is the settings so you can change the way that the whole thing looks, the whole record view looks. So if I wanted to change key information, put it at the top of additional information here, I could certainly do that. So I can add different card library about this contact. I could add this card, and then I could switch that so that when I save it, we'll save and exit here. Now we see about this contact as well, this key information. So I'm going to remove that. Just wanted to give you a quick example of what that looks like. But what I'm trying to show you is this is highly customizable. You can see the information in the way that you want, so you can get the insights that you need very quickly. From here, we have the key information and this top left section for quick buttons and most critical information for the record. Then we have this middle section. And this middle section has different tabs to control what's going to show up. And so we're going to start with about, but this gives us a Breeze record summary. I really like this. It looks at all the information and then gives you an executive summary on what's going on. So there's no associated activities for more context, but as the information is filled out on the record and as there's associated information, which we'll talk about in just a moment, it gives you more details on what's going on and more activities as well. So it takes everything for the record into account before giving you a summary of what's going on. And you can ask more questions about the record, which is really helpful as well. So this is most helpful when there's a fully filled out record. We have contact profile, so we can see additional information here, the company name, street address, city, some helpful information. And we can we can modify those as well. We have enrollments. So if they're in a communication subscription, so they've said, hey, I'd like to receive marketing and promotional emails from you, great. That will show up in enrollments. Got activities. These are things that we're doing in order to typically assist a contact along their customer journey. So the different activities, usually they're broken up into tasks, things that you're doing, meetings with people, calls, emails, and notes. So you can click into those individually. All activities, all these record types combined, you can see all of that over time, which is very helpful. You can filter that, see who they're assigned to, you can clear it, so you can see everything, you can collapse, or you can expand all of them as well. Very helpful to see activities here in this tab. You've got revenue. So revenue, if you remember in the previous section here, allows you to get an executive summary of the records from Commerce Hub. So you notice anything similar, quotes, invoices, payment links, quotes, invoices, payment links. If you set up that section, you can see quote to cash here, e-commerce, which is your Commerce Hub. You can see different carts and orders here as well. Sorry, in the commerce section. Sorry, and this is actually in the CRM. I misspoke there. You should be able to see orders here within CRM, which is very helpful. So you can see e-commerce, quote to cash. This is usually B2C, usually B2C. This is usually B2B, quote to cash. Intelligence. You can do data enrichment. You can see data enrichment information, and then you can see the lifecycle stage. Basically, it's a filtered down view of what's going on with tons of data points. You can see kind of a intelligence summary of what's happening with the record. Then if I go to customize, we can look at that. We can create multiple views in order to see the information the way we want. We kind of already went over that, but that's the customize. That's how you can get to customize. So we can do a lot here to, instead, if we don't want to see related information, that's okay too. We can just see the main information in the main section and then some of the other details. However, it's good to see associated information. So let's see if I can break this down in a way that makes sense. So everything to the left of this red line within this section, let's see if I can draw a good, within this section. This is information directly related to Drew Brockbank in this case, or whatever record that you might be in. However, there's information. Drew might belong to a company called Brockbank Consulting, okay? And so everything to the right of this line is the associated records. So it's not that record specifically, it's a different record type that's associated to this record. Like it has something to do with it. Because Drew Brockbank is a person, not a company, but he works for a company. So we want to see that record too. So if I expand this section, I can see, okay, this is where Drew Brockbank works. Let's say that Drew Brockbank also wanted to do a deal. Like there was an opportunity to sell Drew something. I'd go to add, and you can see that the deal name's filled out, which is great. The pipeline's associated, the deal owner's associated, the contacts associated, the company's associated with me because I created it from the record. But if I go to create here, you'll notice now that we're in the deal record and we're seeing the associated contact and company. So you'll notice no matter where I go, as I click on these, the associated records pop up on the right, okay? So why am I showing you this? Is this even important? The answer is yes, it's very important because now you're starting to understand why this right-hand section populates the way that it does. Now, the best way to understand the records on the right-hand side here, this is related records to the actual record we're in. Best way to show you that is by going over here to View All Properties, then Manage Properties. We're not actually able to create this relationship, but I'll show you how it works. So we have a field called Property Sync. Think about it as we're creating a relationship between two records. So let's say I wanted to create a custom relationship between the ticket and the contact, or from the contact to the deal. Even though they're already related, let's say I wanted to create a custom relationship. I can then go here and use this field to sync the data from one object to another. So it can get a little complicated, but the best way to understand it is you can create relationships with different records so that you can see related records within the same page. The idea here is to get a 360-degree view. The goal of the record is what we call a 360-degree view. That just means you can see everything that has to do with the record you're in one place. Instead of me having to have no section on the right and saying, oh, where's the company information? Now I have to go to the company. This is ridiculous. Instead of doing that, don't have to do that. Here's the company information right here. And then I can view the record for the company right within the contact record. It's easy to access all the information related to this record in one place. So with that, that is the record view and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important that you understand contacts within HubSpot CRM. A contact represents a person. So I'm going to click into this and you'll notice the board view, but it's empty. So to give you an appreciation for the board view, we're actually going to create here a demo record very quickly. Do drewbrock1@gmail.com. And I'll do Drew Brockbank and create. So we'll be in the record view now, but we need to jump back to the board view. Before we do that, you'll notice this property called Lifecycle Stage. Lifecycle Stage shows us the different phases of the customer journey: subscriber, lead, marketing qualified lead, and so forth. You'll notice as we back out to the records, plural view, there's subscriber, lead, marketing qualified, sales qualified, etc. Okay, so that property is what these stages are based off of. Now, each of these columns should represent a phase within the journey that you're taking somebody through. When you're trying to help somebody, there's different phases to helping them move forward. You need to make sure this is put in accurately. You can configure this. The best practice is to have 4 to 7 stages. So anything less than 4 isn't really enough for you to understand where something is at in a process. Anything more than 7 makes it feel overwhelming. So that's the sweet spot, 4 to 7. Now you'll notice the record I created became a card. This is a card here, and we can see where this is at in the journey. So we're going to start with subscriber, and I'm going to use my organization as an example of what all this looks like. And that will give you an appreciation for the customer journey. But here's the problem. My organization isn't your organization. So you're going to need to translate the principles and the tactics that I'm sharing here to your own organization in your own situation. With that, we have subscriber here. And subscriber is someone who's gone to my website, they've gone to one of my blogs or my articles or resources, and on the right-hand side, it has a call to action. It says, subscribe to our newsletter, or there will be a pop-up, subscribe to our newsletter, put in your email, first name, last name. Great. If they do that, they become a subscriber. And that just means they're wanting marketing information sent to them. You're familiar with this. You've probably seen this before. And we have lead. Well, if the smarter I get in marketing, I might think to myself, you know what? I want to grow my marketing list, and I'm going to offer something for free. In my organization, we do CRM/ERP setup and training. So HubSpot is a CRM system. ERP is everything post-sales. Having to do with finance, HR, and post-sale operations. So what I might do is I might say, you know what? I want to attract more HubSpot business. I'm going to create a HubSpot onboarding and setup checklist. And I'm going to make it free, but what I want in exchange is someone to give me their first name, last name, and email address. Well, if they were to get my HubSpot onboarding and setup checklist and I get their information, they now become a lead, and I can send them more marketing information and they can have the resource for free. So that would be a lead. Okay. That would be an example of a lead. The goal here is, if you're going to do a lead magnet, you want it to be similar to what you are selling. That way, if they get the free thing, you know that there's interest in what you're selling. So that would be the lead magnet as an example. And I'm going through this as if this is linear, but you're smart enough to understand that sometimes it's not linear. Sometimes people go right to marketing qualified lead. Some people don't go through the journey perfectly, and that's okay. This system can handle many different entry points. It's flexible enough to handle this journey not being perfect step by step. Okay, so understand that that's okay. Real life is messier than this board view. Then from the lead, we have marketing qualified lead. Now, if I move over to marketing qualified lead, we have now determined marketing is basically saying, and I'm going to say this as if there's a marketing team and sales team, but it might just be you. You might be a solopreneur, or you might be a large team. This is important to have either way. Marketing qualified is basically the marketing team saying, hey, look, this person is ready for sales attention. So you're running a race, they're handing the baton over to the salesperson, but the salesperson's getting the baton. They're like, I don't know if this is legitimate yet. Okay. So marketing qualified for my organization would be someone submitting a contact us form or book a free consultation. They're booking a free consultation to see if we can build their CRM or ERP system. So now at this point, I'm having a meeting with them. Okay. They booked on my calendar and I'm saying, and at this point, you can, because they booked a meeting, you can create a deal if you want to, okay? And the reason I say that, if you actually go to the deals module here, you will notice, I'll show you this one, that there is appointment scheduled, qualified to buy, presentation scheduled, okay? So these different stages actually work with what we're seeing in contacts. So because they booked the meeting, there is now some kind of opportunity to sell them. We don't know how serious they are yet, but we know there is some kind of opportunity. So I can create a deal here. There are stages to support it, but I'm going to wait. And I'm going to have that meeting with Drew, and I'm going to say, what made you interested in our lead magnet that we offered? And what made you interested in booking a free consultation? Tell me more about your situation. Tell me more about your organization. And I'm trying to understand if they are serious and if this makes sense for us to build their CRM/ERP system. Because it might not. They might say, you know what, we were looking for you to build this automation for HR. It's a small automation, might take an hour. We could do that. It's not really worth our time. So this probably isn't a good fit. That's too small of a project. We work with bigger projects than that. Oh, okay. No worries. That might be the conversation. Or they say we need a full CRM ERP system and we've been doing a lot of research. Well, great. Then they're serious about buying. Another thing to consider here is BANT, Budget Authority Need Timeline. BANT is a series of qualification questions or data points you can get to see if they're serious about buying. So B, budget, can they afford what you're offering? A, authority, do they need to talk to their boss or can they actually authorize the purchase of the thing that you're selling? Need, do they actually need what you're offering or is it something that is too much? For example, if we do full CRM ERP setup and training and they're like, yeah, we just need like 30 minutes of training. They don't really need you. That's overkill. They can go to a customer support rep and get the help that they need. Timeline. I would say, is this something you're looking to do a year from now, or is this something you wish was done yesterday? And if they say, yeah, maybe like 5 years from now, they're not qualified. Okay, so these are questions you can ask to determine if they're sales qualified. Because marketing qualified is saying, hey, sales, we think this person's ready for you. Sales qualified is saying they are ready. And at this point, if they're wanting to move forward in the process, I'm going to create a deal, okay? And you'll notice as I create a deal, I would put a company name, so whatever the company name is that I'm selling, and then I would do CRM, ERP, setup, and training. And then I would create it. And you'll notice that now we are in the deal record that I just created, but I can jump back to the contact very quickly and then jump back into the board view here. And because I created that opportunity or that deal, it is moved automatically to the opportunity stage. So this is where things can change pretty quickly because appointment scheduled, I might schedule another meeting to present to the executive team, the prospective client's executive team, why we would be a good fit to do a CRM ERP implementation. Or maybe I would meet with them to gather more information to see if it even makes sense. And then if I present to them, hey, this is how we would build your system, they would need some decision maker buy-in. They would need to talk with themselves and say, is this something we want to move forward with? And I could determine, hey, have they really bought into this or not? And then they might say, Drew, we want to move forward. Please send us that proposal, but in the form of a signable document with contract language in there, and we'll move forward. They might request the contract, and then I'll send over the contract. And if they sign the contract, then I won it. Okay. And so when they sign the contract, that's usually when we mark one. It's not typically when someone purchases. You could do that, but that's not normally what people do. So with that, if they go over to closed won, I'm speed running the customer journey here just so you can get appreciation for it. You'll notice now HubSpot's smart enough to know, hey, deal was created, market opportunity. Deal was marked closed won. Now it's a customer. Great. It's all automatic here. And then from here, we don't want to stop. We want to make sure we give the customer the best experience we possibly can. That's what we're striving for. And if we give them the best experience we can, we are hoping that they will promote us too. And we'll say, hey, could you give us some feedback? If we notice it's good feedback, hey, would you be willing to write us a testimonial? Great. They write us a testimonial. Now we call them an evangelist. An evangelist is someone who's promoting something, and we want them to promote us. Okay, that's the goal. And to do that, usually you got to provide a great experience for someone or offer a great product or service. So with that, we've got an evangelist, someone who's promoting us now. They've created a testimonial for us. They've been a part of a case study, something like that. Then we have other. So that is the contacts journey from start to finish. I hope this gives you a better idea of life cycle stages and contacts so that you can use HubSpot CRM in the contact section according to best practices. It's important that you understand companies within HubSpot CRM. So a company is simply an organization that you have some kind of relationship with. So you'll notice here I have one company record. It's Brockbank Consulting. That's my organization. Here's a subscriber. Now, if you're looking at subscriber, lead, all these life cycle stages thinking, what do these mean? Go to the previous section of this video where I go over contacts, and you'll notice all of these life cycle stages are the same. So if you look through that, you'll get that information. The important thing for you to understand about companies is you want to collect all the information that's critical and important so that you can understand the organization the best that you can. Best way to do this is to make sure that properties are customized so that you are able to see the most important information as you jump into a record. So, key thing to understand, companies represent organizations, and that will help you to use the company section according to best practices. It's important that you understand the deals object inside of HubSpot CRM. The deal represents an opportunity to sell someone something. So in my organization, if someone were to book a free consultation with me to see if we can build their CRM or ERP system, then I would create a deal to represent, hey, this is an opportunity that I have to sell somebody. And then you'll notice I have these different stages that I go through in order to track where they're at. And if you want a greater appreciation for the deals object, go to the section of this video that you're in where I talk about contacts, because I go through the entire customer journey there and I show you where deals fits in. But because this is the deals section, I am going to go over a little more detail on each of these lifecycle stages. Some people ask me, they say, well, Drew, why do we need deal? Doesn't it feel overkill to have a contact, company, and a deal? It can feel that way, but the reason there has to be a separate deals module and there can be multiple deals is because oftentimes we're selling multiple different things, and one company can potentially buy multiple things from you. And because of that, we need separate records to represent those different opportunities you had to sell somebody. So in other words, if there can be multiple, you normally have to break up into another object, which is why you get all these different object types here. So in other words, if someone in my organization wanted to purchase a CRM/ERP implementation system from me and they scheduled a free consultation, that would be appointment scheduled. After I have that appointment with them, I can determine if they were qualified. Like, did they want to move forward or were they a tire kicker, which means they weren't serious about purchasing, they just wanted some information. If they're qualified to buy, then I'll say, great, we can schedule a time for me to present our solutions to you in more detail. Because usually the first appointment is, let's just see if we're a good fit. Presentation scheduled is saying, let's book a time where I can talk to all the decision makers so that we can get everyone in a room. We can see if this makes sense. So then I can schedule that presentation meeting where I go over with everybody. And we can do that all together where I have a presentation with all the decision makers. And then hopefully there's some buy-in, right? So after we have that presentation scheduled, I can say, hey, is this something that you're wanting to move forward with? Or is this something that we should pause for now? And if they're like, you know what, we are going to move forward, let us talk amongst ourselves. We're pretty sure we're going to move forward, and we'll ask you to send over a contract when we're ready. Great. Once they ask for the contract, that's contract sent. Once they sign the contract, I can mark them as closed won. Okay, closed won means they've signed it. We just want a deal, confetti for everybody. It's great. Then we can move over to closed loss. They're like, you know what, we don't want to move forward. This isn't the right time. We don't have the budget, whatever the reason might be. But those are the different stages that make up the deals records view when I go over to board view. It's important to understand these things so that you can use the deals object according to best practices. It's important that you understand the tickets within HubSpot CRM. Now, this object or record type represents a request for help. So when we sell something to someone, in my organization, we sell CRM, ERP, setup, and training services. We don't want to just say after we're done with them, great, we're done with you, we're never going to see you again. You want to say, hey, look, if you need help in the future, we offer support. So we want to make sure you're successful after we're done working with you. And since you bought our thing, you can reach out to us if you need some help. Well, great. They might take you up on that, send you an email and say, hey, we have an issue with the way that you set up our standard operating procedures in our system. SOPs are just documents with, hey, we trained you on how to use this. This is step by step how you use it. We can put demo issue with SOPs. And I would put company name here. And this would be based on the email that they sent. So then I could put in the ticket description, I could put the client had an issue with the way we set up. And I'm not even say issue, I'm going to say question. A question with the way we set up SOPs in their CRM system. And we'll put this priority as low, and we'll put the create date as today, and we'll make sure it's associated to the right contact. The contact is the person who reached out for help, and the company is the company that they're associated with. So we create that, and you'll notice that we enter the record view, but we're going to back out to the records view here. The reason why is then we can zoom out, get an appreciation for the bigger picture, and then understand the process we're working in. So this is new. I want to make sure I respond to this within an SLA. That's a service level agreement. So oftentimes when you're selling something to someone, you say, hey, we have an SLA. If you reach out to us, we get back to you within 24 hours. Or if you're a premier client of ours, in 6 hours, whatever it might be. Well, great. Now I can click into this, see all the information related to the ticket, and I can respond to them. So I can send them a message saying, hey, I know you have an issue with this, but I need to see a screenshot of the SOP you're talking about, or could you take a recording of your screen and show me what's going on? So at that point, I've responded, but now I'm waiting on them. Okay, the ball is in their court. So waiting on contact just means the ball is in their court. I'm waiting on them to do something. Once they reach back out and say, yes, here's the recording of the issue, it's waiting on me. And we can go back and forth between these two, right? It's not perfectly linear. So you can go back and forth. And then let's just say things went well. And I look through the recording, I'm like, oh, I see the issue. You're not able to access the video that we created. Let me resend it to you. I put the wrong link in the SOP. Great. Then I can mark it closed. Once they say, thanks, that's all that I needed. So closed just means we've wrapped it up. It's no longer an active ticket. It's something that we have solved. So that's closed. So with that, that is the tickets object. It represents a request for help or support from somebody that you're working with or want to work with. It's important that you understand HubSpot CRM orders. An order is when somebody purchases something from you. And it's not to be confused with a sales order. It's different. It can seem the same. A sales order is a master record for a purchase that has the financial obligation and the fulfillment of the thing all wrapped in one. An order is actually specifically for e-commerce, so it's more straightforward. So you can hook up to Shopify or to whatever selling platform that you have, and anytime someone orders something, it's just going to show up here. And so it's really built for e-commerce, so that you can see once an order's been placed through your through whatever system you've connected with, you can see it go from an open order to processed, which means that you've gotten it ready to ship out, and then you ship it, delivered, canceled. And the interesting thing is you might think, oh, this is an order I can select, and I'll show you here, demo order. You might think to yourself, well, I can actually select the different items that are associated with this. You can't do that. It's not really what it's designed to do. So it is built to reflect the different orders from your different platforms that you have. And an order just represents something that someone has purchased, but you want to see the order along its process, its fulfillment process here. So with that, that is an overview of the orders within HubSpot CRM and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important to understand projects within HubSpot CRM. So a project is just a group of work that you're managing. As an example, in my organization, we're doing CRM/ERP setup and training services. So after we sell somebody and the deal is closed won, I would more likely than not say, now there's work to do. We've got to onboard this new client and we need to execute their project. So I would go over to the right-hand side and you can see all these different records, and we're looking for projects. We could create the project here. The benefit of this is once we create the project within the deal, you're going to notice that it is already associated correctly to it. Okay, now these are tied together. We have tied these records together. So that's just an example. I'm actually going to go back to projects and just create it without an association to deals. Just wanted to give you an appreciation for what's possible there. So here we're going to create a project from scratch. We're going to go to create new. I'm going to go to demo. And I would, in my case, for my example, I would do company name. So the name of the company that I'm doing the project for. And then I would do what we're actually doing, which would ERP setup and training. And from here, I would just mark the status. I would put it here on track, and then I would mark it as create project. And you'll notice it is now in the planning phase. It's taken us to the record view. Great. Another thing that's important to understand, within the normal elements we see for most records, we have right in the middle tasks. So a project is a group of work that we're managing. A task is a specific thing that we need to do. Okay, it's a specific action item. It's a specific thing that needs to get done. We hit create task. You'll notice it pops up here, and we can put get username and password from client. That way we can access their system and begin system setup and begin CRM/ERP system setup. And I'd create it. And now you'll notice the task lives here. So the task is now inside of the task section. And then I can mark it done once it's completed and track all the work that needs to get done in one place. I need to give myself a little more breathing room so I can see what's going on here. I can collapse this related records column here or section. So with that, that is the task section here. If I back up to projects, I can zoom out and understand where is this project at in the grand scheme of things. Are we still planning things? Are we actually getting things done? Do we need to review everything that was done? And if so, if it's all reviewed and completed, we'll mark it as completed. The project's done. Or did we put it on hold? Did the client want to stop for some reason? Or has the project been canceled altogether? Now, I went over this from the standpoint of my organization, but your organization is different. So again, I mentioned this in other sections. please translate what I'm saying to your own efforts. This might be an internal project that you're working on, or you're not doing this for a client. You're building a website internally. That's okay. You can still use the project because remember, the project represents a group of work that you're managing. So as long as it meets that definition, you're completely fine to use that. And then also here within tasks, the task, and I'm going to remove the custom filter there. Now, you can also see the definition for task, something that needs to get done. As long as you're meeting that definition, you can use task for that as well. So with that, that is the section here for projects for managing work within HubSpot CRM according to best practices. It's important that you understand segments inside of HubSpot CRM. So a segment is just a group, okay? And the reason we want to group things together is we want to make sure we avoid the cluster. The cluster is when you don't have any kind of way to group people together so that your customers, your leads, and your subscribers, they're all mixed together. When they're all mixed together, it's very difficult to send the right communications to the right people. So when you create segments, you'll have something that looks like this. All of your customers, those who have unsubscribed to you, and those who are your newsletter subscribers. You want to make sure there's clean segments created so that you can send the right communications out to the right people. You'll notice if you go in here and click on edit, you can use the properties on the record you've created a segment for, and that will allow you to filter down and create the right group for that segment. So as long as you're trying to create groups to properly send communication out to people, you can use the segmentation here, which is great. You can create a segment on contacts, companies, deals, many different objects within HubSpot CRM so that you can send the right communication out to the right group of people according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot CRM's inbox. The inbox is a shared space for messages. Think about it like this. When you jump into your email service provider, whether it be Gmail or Outlook or some other tool that you're using, you'll get different messages throughout the day, right? Different people emailing you. And you're not going to see messages here, but you've seen this before. Different emails will come into your inbox. And imagine you click on the message and you see it here and you think to yourself, you know what? I want to bring somebody else from my team into this inbox so that they can manage and respond to different messages coming in. I want to work on these as a team because I have so many different messages coming through. Well, that's exactly what inbox is. It's a shared inbox. So it's not just you. You can work as a team with other people on responding to all the messages that come through. But it doesn't just have to be email. You can connect multiple different channels. So you'll notice here that if I go to the settings for the inbox, I can go to connect a channel, and then I can connect my team email, my chat. So live chat messages will come through. I can connect forms, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and even calls. So all of these start coming through the inbox, and I can manage all the conversations in one place with a team. So each of these would be conversations. And then there will be little boxes here where the different messages show up for the inbox, okay? And you have different sections here so you can jump to the various messages that are in your inbox. You can organize it there. The other thing to understand is in the middle, you're seeing a similar design to what you'll see in an email service provider like Gmail or Outlook or another tool. You'll see the message that came through, and then you can actually email and respond right within this interface to that message. So instead of jumping from tool to tool, like you can see here, instead of jumping from your email to your chat to Facebook Messenger individually, you can manage all of these things in one place. So it's an all-in-one shared inbox for communicating with people. You can also choose the different ways you're going to respond, and then you have different tools to craft the response in the right way. Also, what's nice about this is you can comment. This will be hidden from the person that initiated the contact. It's just visible to your team, so you can create these internal comments to give additional context to people and communicate internally with the team all in one place. Also, what's nice about this is This is a conversation within the inbox, but you can also create a ticket. A ticket is some kind of request for help, okay? Just some kind of request that's coming in. So if you want to turn this conversation into a ticket, you can click on create a ticket and you can take that information and populate the ticket, which is great, okay? And it will pre-populate a lot of those items for you. So it's a really nice tool to manage all of your communications in one place. Then you have the options to move it to trash, block sender, mark as spam, etc. So with that, that's the HubSpot CRM inbox and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important that you understand calls inside of HubSpot CRM. So the calls are just the discussions that you've had with people. You can connect your internet phone with HubSpot CRM so that those calls auto log. You'll see here are some samples that you can preview so that you can see call recording and the call notes, all the information related to a discussion that you've had here. So you can connect your internet phone, have these automatically log for you. And the way that you can do that is you can go up here to call, and then you can set up a number with HubSpot. So you can connect an external number and start calling. So with that, that is the calls object and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important that you understand the meetings object in HubSpot CRM. A meeting is just a gathering that you've had either virtually or in person, and you want to track it. So most of us are having different Zoom calls or web calls with people, and we connect with our calendar in order to get these added to HubSpot. HubSpot will do this automatically for you. If you go over to calendar and then you integrate with your calendar, it will sync all of your meetings, which is great. There's different settings here to get the meetings on there that you want, but this is something very important to do. Once your meetings are on here, it will also connect with the various people that attended. So you'll see meetings associated to contacts as well. Really helpful to have all of that connected and automated so you can have meetings working for you according to best practices. It's important to understand tasks inside of HubSpot CRM. So a task is something that needs to get done. You can create a task right from here, but the way I like to think about it is in every process that you're working, there are stages and there are steps. To make sense of this, let's go over to the deals module and you'll see for stages, we have these different columns, okay? So we have the process, then we have the stages, and then we have the steps. You can see the stages here, but we can't see steps. As an example, we're moving someone from qualified to buy over to presentation schedule. But what needs to get done? What are the steps that we need to take in order to make that happen? Well, we would create the different steps here in the task section here. We'd create a task. And I would say something like create presentation. And then I would create it. And I'd also say schedule meeting to present. These are different things that need to get done. And you'll notice that now that these tasks have been created, if I go back into tasks here, I have the different tasks that I need to get done. I need to schedule a meeting to present, create presentation. And this helps me to keep track of the work that needs to get done. So I can create tasks here, but I like to create tasks on the records that are associated with them so that I know for particular opportunities or accounts or contacts that I'm working with, what I need to do to help them along their journey. So tasks are things that you need to get done. I wouldn't overcomplicate it more than this. There's stages, which are the general phases of a process, and then there's steps, which are the action items or tasks of things that need to get done. If you break it up like that, it makes these processes much easier to manage within HubSpot CRM, and it allows you to do so according to best practices. It's important to understand message templates within HubSpot CRM. You're probably familiar with templates. You probably created them before, but it's just a way to repeatably send a message to people. So when I create a new template, I'll do it from scratch to show you how all of this works. We're just going to close this little tour here. And we can, when we create a template, we can share it with everybody. So we can keep it private, or we can make sure everyone's able to see that. So either we can just use it or everyone can. You can also select a folder to group your templates together to keep things more organized. I'm going to do demo template here. And the subject is going to be welcome new client. And we're actually going to make this more dynamic by inserting what we call a token. And a token is a property from an object like first name. And once we do this, we'll just put none here. The fallback is just, hey, if we don't have the first name, what do you want to populate? And we'll put welcome first name to the Brockbank Consulting family, right? Something like this is what we'd want to add. Put lowercase there. So welcome first name to the Brockbank Consulting family would be a hey, and then we would do another token here. So we can personalize this. Welcome to the family. We're excited to work with you. So I'm just doing this as an example to show you how these email templates work. It's just like sending an email inside of an email client like Gmail or Outlook, except you're creating it so that you can templatize it and repeatably send it to people and still personalize it, which is great. You can bold, italics, all the normal things you can do in order to modify text and make it look the way that you want. You can insert links, images, and then you can also insert snippets. We're going to talk more about that, but these are just like sections of a overall email that you can repeatably copy and paste. So they're just very quick pre-written sections of a message that you can create. You also have documents you can associate with meetings, and you can do video if you unlock that with the correct tier of HubSpot CRM. So with that, that is how you can create a template. We're going to save that. And then whenever you're sending a message, you can use your template instead of starting from scratch. You can send out a template to many people or use that template when sending a message to an individual. It's important that you understand snippets inside of HubSpot CRM. So snippets are just short pre-written sections of a message that you can quickly add to whatever email or message that you're sending someone. So I'll give you a demo here. Snippet text would be welcome to the family. We are excited to work with you. Let's just say that was something that you sent a lot to people. So if you notice a pattern in what you're sending in a lot of messages and you're like, I need to create a little snippet for me because I do this all the time, then we can do family, save snippet. So now we have this family snippet that we can use. And as I'm creating message templates as an example, do this real quick from scratch. I can do hashtag family. I'll do it like this, family. And then you'll see demo appear and I can click it and boom. So the snippet just allows you to build your own little library of little pre-written responses that will, so as you notice patterns in what you're communicating, you can create a library of them and then quickly respond using it. Do you have to do it? No, but it's a nice section of HubSpot to make you create messages quicker. And that's how you can use snippets according to best practices. HubSpot Marketing is where you can go to get people to buy your stuff and learn about your organization. So there's different channels or ways that you can have people learn about you, like emails, running ads, doing events. But these are some of the different channels that HubSpot Marketing supports. So we are going to go over some of these channels so that you have a strong understanding of how HubSpot works and that you can learn, and so that you can learn better how to promote your organization and hopefully get people to buy your stuff. It's important to understand HubSpot Marketing's email. Now, email is where you can go to send lots of emails to lots of people. So you'll notice here that I have one email that I've created, and I would be able to see all the different emails I created if I had created multiple. So this would be all the emails that have been created. And then I can go into drafts, scheduled, sent, archived. These are different views that I have of the different emails that have been created. I can also add my own views, look at all the views. I can create folders to further organize the different emails that have been created. I can also go to analyze in order to see how the emails I've created have performed, and go through health to see additional metrics. And we're actually going to create an email together. Before that, you do have a set of tools, an email tools here, where you can compare different emails and their performance. You can create a list of contacts that have had a hard bounce, which is very helpful. You can import opt-out lists. So if you have a list somewhere of people who don't want to receive communication from you, great, import it, and you can exclude them from receiving future emails. And then you have other tools here as well, like manage allowed listing, so that you can view the list of IP addresses that HubSpot may send mail from. You can check automated mail sending domain statuses. You can upload files in your content, and then you can view sending limits. Okay, so those are some additional tools you have in the email section. Let's create an email together. We have a couple different methods for sending emails. So I really like this one. You can send automatic emails to share new blog posts. So when you're using HubSpot to create different blogs or resources on your blog, you can just set this up to automatically notify everybody or a segment that a new blog has been posted. So very helpful to set that up. You have automation. So you can send this through an automation. These emails can be added to simple workflows. So as you create a workflow, you can add the email that we're creating, if you want to that workflow. Then we have regular, which we're going to do. I'm going to show you exactly how this works. We're going to use a template to get started. And you'll notice as I click use template, I can now modify or change how this looks so I can make it mine. So lots of different tools to do this, but as you click on different elements, each of them have their different settings that will pop up. You're probably familiar with some kind of email editor. A lot of this will look familiar to you. But the idea is start with a template, make it yours. There's lots of different options here for making it look the way that you want. Starting with add, you have different elements so that you can click and drag these onto the interface and then make it look the way that you want. I'm going to undo that, just showing you can take different elements and put it onto the canvas here. You can add different sections so you can break up the way that information is displayed on the email. You can go through email contents, and then you can scroll over the different sections and different elements on the email. You can change the template design to further make it look the way that you want. You go to send to and choose who this is going to send out to, whether it be a segment, which is a group of people from your contacts, through an automation, an API. If you don't know what an API is, it stands for Application Programming Interface. It's more of an advanced way to do it, but you can send through an API. And we also have audience. This will show you how many recipients from that segment this is going to go out to. You have your subscription type. It helps you choose the purpose of your email here. So you can do one-to-one, marketing information, etc. there on subscription type. You can do send to. You'll notice the different segments that I have: all customers, unsubscribed, newsletter subscribers, individual contacts. I can do that as well. And then you can also have don't send to. So you want your unsubscribed to be in there, right? You don't want to send mass email blasts to people who told you they don't want to receive your communications. You can also change the name here from new email to whatever you'd like. You have file here to either clone, move to a folder, archive, or delete. You have some help options here as well. From there, if you move on to the canvas, you'll see send to, don't send to. So if you click on these two sections, the different settings for these sections will pop up on the left. So if I click on send to, I can choose who this is sending out to. If I click on from, I can decide, hey, where's this coming from? I can have multiple emails here. I can change this email to other ones that I have, different from addresses that I allow. I can personalize this subject line with a token, so it dynamically populates information based on who it's sending to. So if I want to do based on first name, then I can do the first name here. And then I can do a fallback value, which would just be nothing in this case. Or I can do, for this fallback, I'll just do demo. And I can say, welcome to the family. And then you can also put here, to be a little more specific, you probably want to put like company name, family, whatever your company name might be. Then you can preview different text here. So this gives a preview of what the email is. You can also do a from name and then from address. So when they receive it, they'll see from Drew Brockbank, Drew at brockbankconsulting.com. And then here you'll notice this will be used to preview text that displays in some email client. So some email clients like Google, they'll show you the preview text, some don't. Then you can use this as a reply to address, the same one you send it from, or you can exclude this. It's up to you, but that just allows people to respond back to the specific email you sent from. Some people want to do, some don't. Some will say, hey, do not reply to this address. You can preview and test. So if you're nervous, you're like, how's this going to end up? I know what it looks like here, but how's it going to look when I actually send it out? You can preview as a client, as a contact. So you can go here, and then you can see a little preview of what this is going to look like, both on mobile and on desktop, which is very helpful. And you can actually choose a contact to see how it's going to populate for them, which is really cool. I'm going to go back to editing here. We have other options to preview in an email client. This is locked for this version of HubSpot. You can preview the web version. You can send a test email to yourself, and you can copy a shareable link. A couple of other things here on the editor before we get to review and send. You can go over to collaborate with Assistant, and then you can use Breeze to refine the content here. So the Breeze agent, really helpful. You can prompt it, and it can help you to make this content the way that you want. So very helpful. You can also A and B test here. So if you want to test different versions of the email, you can do that. And then you can go to review and send. You got to make sure there is a recipient selected. So we do all customers in this example. And then it just gives you a list of information so that you can say, hey, is this exactly what I want to do? Is this the information that lines up with the message that I want to send here? And then you can go over to send. And then again, you can preview again one last time if you need to. Then you can click send, and it will send this out. Once you've sent it out, like I was showing you before, you're able to see the different metrics to see if the email performed well. So after you send the message, you want to make sure that it's performing, and you can do that here from this view. You can also go to Analyze and Help. So with that, that is the email section of HubSpot Marketing, and now you know how to use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Marketing's ads. Now, ads is where you can go to promote your organization. You'll notice here I have connected my Google Ads account, but you can connect multiple ad accounts to the ads section. Either Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, you can connect your Meta ads, your Google ads, LinkedIn ads, and TikTok ads. So instead of jumping into each of these individually, you can connect them all to HubSpot and manage them all in the ads section. Very useful tool. Let's break down what's going on here. So first, you're in the Manage tab. So this is where you can view all the campaigns that are going on. You can actually create a campaign. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. You can also see drafts of campaigns that you have created, the different audiences that you have across your ad platforms, different events. So an event is just something that happens in marketing that you want to track. So if you want to track a event of somebody who filled out a form, as an example, that would be an event that you can track. And then you can determine, hey, on average, if this form is filled out 10 times, we get a sale. So we're going to divide the average sale amount by 10, and that's the value of that specific event, just as an example. But it depends on what you're wanting to track. Also, analyze, you can view the performance of the different campaigns and ad channels, marketing channels or ad platforms that you have connected here. So it's a nice all-in-one tool to manage your advertising and promotion efforts from one place. So you can create events. We talked a little bit about that already. You can also create audiences, and then you can create an ad campaign, which we're going to do together. So you'll notice I don't have any ad campaigns here, but I'm going to create one with you now. And once I do, you will see it appear here in the overall ad campaigns list. So I choose my ad type. It can be a website visit ad. So I can connect that with Meta and LinkedIn, lead generation ads, Meta and LinkedIn, where I can actually collect information from people in that ad. You'll notice the reason I can't is I haven't connected LinkedIn and Meta. Once I've done that, then I will be able to run these kinds of campaigns. You can run a search ad. So when people are searching on Google, it can appear at the top or somewhere on the page, hopefully. Google Performance Max. be able to appear both on Google Ads and on YouTube. I've got engagement ads, and then I've got ad sequence. So different kinds of ads that I can run here in order to drive traffic or people to my website. So hopefully they can buy the thing that I'm selling. So I'm just going to do demo campaign here to give you an idea of what this looks like. And because I've connected my Google Ads account with HubSpot, I don't have to go into Google Ads Manager in order to do this. I just stay here and it pushes all the information for me. So I can create the ad that I want to run here. And you'll notice I'm just adding some filler information, some placeholder information here. And then I can go over from ads to targeting. And it's pretty similar to the different options that I'm going to see in Google Ads Manager in that platform. So I can choose my targeting, the different keywords. So if I wanted to do CRM consulting, ERP implementation, I would do something like that. Budget and schedule. How much do I want to spend on this? What's my strategy? Do I want to maximize conversions, clicks, conversion value? I can choose that. And then it will give me an idea of, hey, this is the budget you should consider. Then go to automation. I can add different automations and follow-ups here. And I can also automate here contacts being added to segments. So when a contact interacts with my ad, I can add them to an active segment, which is really cool. So I can create segments based on what's happening with the ad that I am promoting. So with that, I can then publish this. Obviously, there's some requirements here, but you understand how this works now. I can also modify the name. I'm going to click on exit here, save and exit. And you'll notice now, when I go over to drafts, I have this draft campaign. I haven't published it quite yet, but once I do, I'll be able to see it here with all the campaigns. So with that, that is the HubSpot marketing ads section and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot Marketing's events. This is where you can go to manage the live events that you do, the virtual events that you do, or hybrid, which is a mix of both. So it's not to be confused with the other meaning for events in marketing, which is an action that you want to track. So if we head over to ads for just one moment, you'll notice a create event button here. This is referring to something completely different. If I click on create event here, we're saying, hey, what is an action that someone performs that we want to track, such as someone filling out a form that's valuable for us to track, or clicking on a certain element that we want to track. Those are completely different. So I just want to make that quick differentiation. There's two kinds of events. There's like these actual meetings that you're having, and then there are actions people are performing that you want to track. Okay, those are two different things. With that, we're going to create an event together here. I'm going to create it very quickly with some placeholder information. So I'm just going to put demo here, and then I'm going to hit create. So there's other information that we can put in here, but you'll see now that we have the status. This is an ongoing event. I can modify this however I would like. There's lots of different kinds of properties, so you can track lots of different kinds of information here if I want to, which is helpful. I'm going to show you all the properties here, so I can modify all of this if I would like, so that people can understand more about the event that I am tracking or managing here. So eventually, not on this plan, but you can in HubSpot track your marketing events and attribute them to things like sales. So if you want to manage an event and someone's like, hey, how many sales did we get from that event that you did? Then you can actually track that using HubSpot. Just a small side note here. If someone asks you, hey, how did that event go? How many sales did we have from it? It can be a bit of a loaded question, because then you have to answer the question of attribution, which is, are we going to do a first touch model, a last touch model? Are we going to do a W model, a U model? There's different ways to attribute success to a sale or to whatever conversion you want to track. And so you got to decide that first. Most people, if you end up having that discussion, just start with a first touch attribution. So if the first thing they did, or the first thing that you can track that they did, with interacting with your organization is a event. That's the first thing you can track. Then I would just attribute 100% success to that. Eventually you can do multi-touch attribution, but I would stick with single touch or first touch to begin with. So with that, that is the events section and how you can manage them according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot Marketing's forms. So forms is where you can go to create a place for people to put in information. I'm going to go to create form here, and we're going to create one together. So we can start with a template. I'm going to use a basic template here. And if we want to put this form on our website or somewhere else, great. HubSpot allows us to do this. So it shows us the whole journey of the form here on this layout. First, where they're going to fill out the information, and second, where they're going to go after. So it'll say form submitted. Thank you. We'll be in touch soon. Now, in order to make this form the way that we want, we can go to add, and we have different fields that we can put onto the form to make it work the way that we want, and different settings to change it. More likely than not, you have built forms before, but this is what it looks like to do it inside of HubSpot. So we have first the add, which we can create fields. We can add properties. So properties come from different objects or record types within HubSpot. We have other. So other elements that we can add to the form to make it work the way that we want. We have content. So you'll notice as I scroll over, you'll see on the right, every time I hover over an item here, it hovers over that object on the right-hand side. So this just allows a list view of the information that's being presented on the form. Build smart forms with logic. So I can add logic into the form. That is not something available on this version of HubSpot or this plan, but if you go to add logic, it'll take you to the information so that you can upgrade and do that. You have styling, and then just one last thing on logic. Basically what you're doing here is, let's say, for example, I built CRM ERP systems for multiple platforms, like HubSpot, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, Zoho. I could put, what platform are you interested in? And if they select HubSpot, only certain fields show on the form so that only the relevant information shows based on what someone has previously selected. So that's one of the ways you would use logic to make the form work the way that you want. We have form styles here. So form styles just allows me to make it look the way that I want. Then I have the optimize section, and this allows me to make the form better for conversions. So I can make it shorter. I can add multiple steps here. I can add different images, and I have a security section here as well. I can also go over to automation. So if I want to decide what's going to happen after the form submitted, I can create an email submission or an email automation to send them an email after the form is submitted, or I can create a simple workflow and use different actions to automate what happens afterwards. I can go to settings here. There's different kinds of settings here so that I can make the form work the way that I want. I've got submission settings, general settings, which we were just on, tickets. I can decide how this is going to connect to tickets, or if at all it will, and then language and region. So those are the different settings to make it work the way that I want. And of course, I can customize this and make it look and behave the way I would like it to. Finally, I can preview the form so I can see how it's going to work for someone. I'll do demo@gmail.com. Option 1, and you'll notice here, it goes to form submitted, just like it was designed to do. And then I can go back to the different steps to see how it works. I can also copy the link and open in a new tab if I would like to. With that, I'm going to go over to hover over review and update. I got to make sure that the fields are connected to a property, because if they're not, the information has nowhere to go. So in this case, I would need to change these two fields and connect it to a property or create a new one. So you either connect it or you create a new property in order for the information to go somewhere. Once that's done, and I'm just going to remove these because they're not connected, but you'll notice it has a green dot here. That means it is connected to a property. But if we just add one here, I'll just add a different field here from fields. If I do this, you'll notice it's red. It's because it's not connected to a property. So you got to make sure that they are connected. And then once you have done that, you can go to review and update, look at all the information regarding the form, update the form, and then you can either embed it with HubSpot. So you can put it on your HubSpot website using the CMS, which stands for Content Management System. Put it on the landing page or use it as a call to action. You can get the embed code, which allows you to embed this onto your site. And then you can copy a share link as well, and then just open it as a link. So those are your different options for creating a form inside of HubSpot and then putting it where you want, whether it be a link or making it accessible through a embed code, however you want to do it there. So with that, that is the forms section of HubSpot and how you can use forms according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot Marketing's CTAs, or call to actions. Call to actions are just when you're asking a visitor to do something. So when someone goes onto your website and you want them to do a certain action, call to action is you asking them to do it. So there's different ways you can do a call to action. There's pop-ups, slide-ins, buttons, and really you should be doing a call to action with all of your marketing. These are just some ways that you can do it with HubSpot. So every time you create a marketing asset, whether it's your website or an ad, you're asking them to take the next step instead of leaving it to the visitor or the prospective customer to guess. So I'm going to start with a pop-up just to show you exactly how this works. We're going to use a template, and you'll notice that we have an editor so we can make this look exactly the way that we want it to look. So if I want to add something like meetings here so that someone can book a meeting with me right from the pop-up, I can do that. And I'll select a meeting here. You'll notice now that it will add to the pop-up. I can make this as dynamic as I want. So it's really helpful. It's highly customizable. I'm going to remove that, but you'll see here, we're able to go in here and I can put book free consultation. Because we build CRM ERP systems, I'll put something right here. Book a free consult to learn how we can build a system that you'll love. We put CRM ERP system that you'll love. And then I could put, we support HubSpot setup and training. Something like that. And I'd also put here the exact thing I want them to do, book free consultation. And then I could even add, like I was doing before, that book free consult page so they can do it all in one place. I can change the image. I can do whatever I'd like. So all of these sections, or this add section, allows you to add different elements. We can also go to content, and I can fine tune where these things are at and then remove them if I need to, or I can go over to them and adjust the settings. From here, I can go over to design and change further the way that this looks so that it's ready to go on my website. And then I can move over to targeting. So I can trigger this on a button click. I can trigger on a page scroll because I don't want the pop-up to happen as soon as they hop on the page. So I got to choose when is it going to happen, when it will be shown. I can fine tune exactly when this is going to show up. Who is it going to show up to? All the different settings regarding the call to action for targeting are going to be right here in this section. Finally, I can go over to options. I can have it just on for small screen sizes. I can, turn off for small screen sizes so it doesn't mess with people who are on their phone. I can have click tracking, and I can also modify the scheduling here as well. From here, I can preview how it's going to look so I can see if it's ready. Looks perfect to me. I like it. I can copy the link, send it to someone else to look through. I can preview it as a contact and much more. Finally, I can go over to review and publish. And I got to make sure all these warnings are completed, but this is a demonstration just to show you how this works. Then I can go to publish details, publish now, and then put it right on the website. So I got to make sure it has a URL, but other than that, I'd be good to go here. And I'll just edit this so you can see really quickly. brockbankconsulting.com. And I'll show you here that you can go to publish now, and I can show on all pages to all visitors if I want, and click OK. So that is how I can create a call to action. And those are how you can manage and create call to actions according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot Marketing's buyer intent. So this is where you can go to learn about who is visiting your website and who is researching topics that are relevant to your organization. So how does this work? Well, when you configure this or set it up, you can take this HubSpot tracking code and put it on your website. Once you put it on your website, different visitors will start to pop up here. So this is a demo. I haven't set it up on my website, but if you did, as people visit, HubSpot will match the IP address with information that it may have on that IP address. So it'll take the IP, which is just a series of numbers, and it will say, oh, this IP address is this company. It's Brockbank Consulting. And Brockbank Consulting, this is their website, and it will give you information. So why is that helpful? Well, you can see before someone even fills out a form on your website, you can see what companies are visiting. And you might be skeptical, but a lot of the companies like HubSpot, they have huge databases where they've already matched IP addresses to company information. So it's a really neat tool for you to be able to see who's researching your organization, who's already visited your organization, and are possibly interested in purchasing something that you are selling. Or if you're just an organization that doesn't sell something, learning more about your organization. Then you've got research. So research is different from visitors. Visitors means they landed on your website and they used reverse IP matching technology to get the IP and match it. Research is different. Research is HubSpot saying, hey, these people here or these companies here, they have research topics that are relevant to what you do. Okay, so HubSpot knows that I do CRM/ERP consulting, setup, and implementation. But you can see here, I can just switch to CRM implementation, and we can start to see different organizations that have researched this topic. Okay, so very helpful to be able to see before someone even gets to visiting my website, or maybe they did visit the website, but research is just people who are looking into this topic. Now, how do we know if they've actually been looking at CRM implementation? Well, this piece of code is on lots of different companies' websites. So HubSpot is able to track different organizations and the research that they're doing. Okay, so HubSpot has a giant database. That's how they're able to collect this information and tell us what different organizations are researching. So then you can be proactive. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn, get more information, and try to connect with them because they're researching in your specific industry or a topic that's relevant to your organization. So very useful tool for research. And you've got Signals. And Signals is zooming out and it's giving you the ability to select a specific company. And you can look at your companies in your CRM and track a company in your CRM. And you can say, hey, Brockbank Consulting, this could be a good customer, okay? But I want to reach out to them when they start doing research in my industry, okay? When Brockbank Consulting starts looking into CRM implementation, that's when I want to reach out. So then you can track intent signals, click here, and then you can start to track what companies are visiting your website, but also researching specific topics, okay? So why is this helpful? Well, once you enable signal tracking on a specific company, you can actually use that for Webflow triggers, segment filters, and lead scoring criteria, okay? So I could automate this so that as my dream clients start to do research on topics that are relevant to what I sell, and as they start to visit my website, I automatically reach out to them, okay? So that is the potential. I'm trying to give you an appreciation of the bigger picture of what buyer intent allows you to do. Then, of course, we went over a little bit of the configuration. This is how you can set this up in order for it to work the way that you want it to work. So I can choose different research intent topics that match what I offer. Business consulting is pretty generic, so I'd probably want to filter down something like CRM implementation. And then I've got this tracking code that I want to throw on my site and some other options here for setup. You also have this overview tab so you can get a snapshot of what's going on with buyer intent. But with that is an overview of buyer intent and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important to understand brand within HubSpot marketing. So brand is where you can go to make things look the same across all of the marketing that you're doing. Okay, so your brand has a certain style, and you want to make sure that when people are creating things across ads, events, whatever channels you're promoting yourself in, things look consistent. So the brand section helps you to create that brand feel or identity across the board. So you have your brand kit, and if you go over to your brand kit, you can add your logo, your favicon, that's what appears here in the, when someone goes to your website, it appears here in the tab. You have your colors, you have your theme, and you can edit your theme so you can make it look exactly the way that you want here. So I can go to this editor right here, and I can go to change theme, and then I can make it look exactly the way that I want. Okay, so this is the active theme in my portal for my website within HubSpot. So I can edit that. I can preview it to see if it looks the way that I want. And I can also modify all of these different settings here as well. So you'll see Brockman Consulting, and change all of that so that it looks the way I want it to look. And it has my brand feel and my brand presence there, instead of just looking like a template. That's what you want to avoid. I go to fonts, select the fonts that I use for my body and my primary text on the different marketing assets that I create. We have brand voice. So I can also upgrade my HubSpot account so that I can use AI and keep my written content on brand. So if someone writes something that's not really in the voice, for example, for my company, we do CRM and ERP consulting. I want to make sure it sounds professional. We're not trying to be like cool and appealing to young people. We are trying to be professional and build trust. So I'd want that to reflect in the brand voice. So the brand section of HubSpot is where you go to make sure that your brand is consistent and enforced across the board with your marketing efforts. That's how you can use it according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot content. So this is where you can go to create different assets. An asset can be a lot of different things, such as a website, a landing page, a blog, a video, a podcast. These are different assets that are helpful for people to learn more about your organization and then hopefully buy the thing that you're selling. Okay. So these are some of the different pieces of content you can create. And then we have Remix, memberships, design manager files. These are some other things that you can do with content. So we're going to go over some of the pieces of content and things you can do with content in this section so that you can use it according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot Content's website pages. So if you want control of pages on your website, you can create a page here. And you'll notice we start with a template. So we also have a theme style that we can control. And if you have been going through this video in order, you'll remember the brand section. And the brand section helps us create the look and feel of our brand so that it is consistent across the board. So I want to make sure that my theme style here is consistent with the brand. So our brand for my company, Brockman Consulting, is definitely more minimalist, black and white feel. It's got a little bit of red in there, but this is the closest one to our look and feel. We do have a splash of red in there, but we're going to leave this for now. And I'll go over to template. From here, I'm going to look at some of the templates and think which one looks most like ours, probably this one. And then from here, I can select this template and then go to generate with AI. You'll notice it's going to say, hey, if you want to do this with Breeze, it'll make it faster. That's awesome. If you want to upgrade so you can do Breeze, you can do that. Or you can just go to edit manually. So when you go to edit manually, you can create or make the page look the way that you want so it matches your website. So you can bring over your whole website here if you want, but I would recommend that's more for brochure or smaller websites. If you want a larger website with a more robust setup, then this might not be the best fit for you. So make sure you have your requirements for what you need in a content management system, which is the content hub of HubSpot, and then see if it's the right fit for you. So you can create different elements on the website, and you'll notice there's lots of different kinds of elements or things that you can add, and it's drag and drop. Okay, so it's not super complicated to use. It's more on the simple side of content management systems, but this is very helpful to be able to make your site and your pages look the way that you want. So this is the different content that appears, and you can scroll down. It creates it in a list so that you can just go through and fine tune the control of the different sections on the site and make it look exactly the way that you want. You can also go over here to the optimize section, and you can make sure that this is good for SEO, search engine optimization, add a page title, meta description. These are things that help search engines like your web page more, so that you hopefully rank and get more exposure or have more people look at your site. You can do some A and B testing, adaptive tests. You can go over here to the global themes, change the way that this is going to look across the board. The theme is the master style for your whole website. That's what this is, but you're able to access it right here, global themes. Site Navigator. This helps you to jump from page to page. So I can jump from my website page to my landing pages to my blogs. These are all different things. We're going to go more in depth on how these are different, but we'll stay with website pages for now. We'll just click out. I can preview how this page is going to look and say, you know what, this is exactly the way that I want it. But let's see on mobile or on a tablet how this is going to look. And I might think, I don't like the way this is adjusted to the right side and this is on the left side. And then you can change things. Whatever you would like to do. I can also copy a link to this, open it in a new web tab to further preview the page that I want to create. I have different settings here so that I can explore, or I can make the page function or work the way that I want it to work. So I can change the internal page name. That's not the page name that's going to show on the, this is just within HubSpot. This isn't going to show on the site itself or for SEO settings. Page title, you do need to do this. This is the public facing name of the page, so it will appear there. If someone were to open this web page, it would show on the tab. That's what everyone else would see. So a lot of different settings here to make things function the way that I want. You'll notice as I scroll, it takes me to that section on the page for settings. So those are the different settings you can change. You can also use Breeze, the AI assistant within HubSpot, in order to learn more and to help you through the process of building your web page. From here, you can go over to publish. We do need to do one thing. I'm going to click here and just do demo and add that page title right there. And then I can go over to the different publish options. I can schedule the publish, or I can just publish it right now. And then here I go. Here's the page, and I can customize my domain and add a reminder so that it says Brockbank-consulting, like my page, like my website actually does, or I can just use this. Okay, so those are my options there for HubSpot creating a page there. And now you understand how to create website pages within HubSpot's Content Hub according to best practices. It's important to understand how to use HubSpot Content's landing pages, different from website pages. A website page is a normal page on your website. A landing page is specifically designed to drive an action, usually from a marketing perspective. So you want to get someone to do something. We're going to create a landing page. I'm going to show you how this works. So with a landing page, you're watching this YouTube video, there's links below to book a free consultation. This is where I'd want to use a landing page because I can further control what I want someone to do. Whereas if I just take someone to my website, it's like, what's the call to action? So landing pages get better conversion rates. That's why we use landing pages normally. So with that, I'm going to click on this landing page. We're going to use it. You can generate with AI if we upgrade our plan, but we're going to just do edit manually for now so you can see how all of this works. So here's a countdown, and you can see it is further pushing an action. It's making someone want to act more than it would on like a normal website page, okay? Website pages can be used for lots of different things. A landing page is trying to get someone to perform the call to action, okay? So you can see all these different sections here. If you've been watching this video in order, you'll know that the last section went over exactly how to use all these editing sections. So if you haven't already watched it, go through it, gone through exactly how to use the content editor here for the web page. It is pretty much the same here for landing pages. I can also go to File here. I can create new, run A/B test, clone this page, delete it. I can make some modifications, redo, undo, and then change the theme. I can also have a version history. I can look through the different versions, go through different settings to make this work the way that I want. And there's a help section here, which is great to use. I can also preview this both on mobile and on desktop before I make it go live. I can also open it in a new tab to see what it looks in that environment, copy a link, send it to someone else so they can check it out as well. I'm going to go over to publish. I just need a page title quickly. You'll see different settings here. Again, a lot of these settings are also in the last section, so watch that if you want a more in-depth tutorial / explanation of these things. Then I can go over to publish, click it, and now it's live. I can copy this and then send it, and then I can start promoting or sending traffic over to this page to get people to do a certain action, call to action. Also, I can add my custom domain, so it would be something like marketing.brockbank-consulting.com, which is my domain. I can customize that so it is on brand. It's not just this crazy looking URL here, which doesn't reflect our brand at all. So with that, that is how you can create a landing page according to best practices. And then you can also manage them using the HubSpot landing pages section. Last thing here before we wrap this up, we can also look at the performance of this page. Okay. So if I want to see page view to submission, which means people went through with the call to action, the form submissions, all these different metrics to see how well things are performing. And then AI can give me suggestions. This is a beta access thing, but I can upgrade my HubSpot plan in order to view that as well. So with that, that is the landing pages within HubSpot's Content Hub. It's important for you to understand the blog within HubSpot Content. So if I click on the blog here, I can either start with AI if I upgrade my HubSpot plan, or I can start from scratch, which we're going to do. So I can show you how this works. Now, a blog is where someone can go to learn more about things that you write or create content on. So a blog hopefully is a way for you to earn trust with someone so that they'll buy something from you or take an action that you want them to take. So here is the blog page, and I can modify this any way that I would like to make it look the way that I want and work the way that I want. Now, I've actually already gone over all of these settings in a previous section, specifically the website pages section. So if you want to know how this stuff works, go over to the website pages section of this video that you're in, and I'll show you exactly how to use all of these settings here. But with that, you want to make sure that this is reflecting your brand feel as well. So if you want to go to that section, you can go over the branding. It's just the brand section, but it makes you design your brand kit so that this looks the way that you want. Finally, once you have this created, you can preview it, modify settings, and then publish. You'll notice there's a lot of things I got to do first before I can actually publish this and put it on my website. But I can go through settings. I can make sure everything's filled out the way that it needs to. I've also gone over this in the website pages and the landing pages section of this video. I can click on publish, and then I have a blog post. So quick thing here, it is different. A blog is different from a landing page and a web page in that a web page is more generic. Landing page is specific to drive a call to action, to have someone do something you want them to do, like book a free consult, contact you, download something, get a lead magnet of yours. That's what a landing page is. And then a blog is more for free resources, things that your content, an article you created, a video you created with a little article underneath to show someone that you understand something better, to hopefully get them to buy the thing that you're offering. Those are the differences between those. Okay. So with that, that is the blog within HubSpot Content, how to use it according to best practices. It's important to understand HubSpot Content's files. So files is where you can go to upload different assets like logos, images, things that you're going to use when you're building things like website pages, landing pages, and blogs. And basically what HubSpot's saying here is, hey, instead of us storing the files in the blog section, and then also in the landing pages section, also in the website pages section, and having it siloed or separate, we're just gonna have one place you can go, files, to upload all of them, and it will show up. You can pull those files into any content creation section. Okay, when you're creating things, we're gonna have those files ready for you. So it's one place you can go to upload things so that you can use them wherever you go to create stuff in HubSpot. So it just makes things more convenient and easier for you. You can also import different files from Google Drive. You can create folders to further organize all the files that you have, and then you can upload files directly from the device that you're using. So this gives you lots of options to make sure that all these files that are relevant are in one place. You can also pull from stock images, and then you have your trash section for the different files that you have deleted. So with that, that is the file section in HubSpot Content, how you can use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand the Sales Hub within HubSpot. The idea behind the Sales Hub is that you can attract people into your organization and have conversations and guide somebody to make the right decision. So these are different tools that you can use to set up those conversations, to reach out to the right people and have the discussions necessary so someone can make a decision on whether they should work with you, purchase your thing, or not. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Sales documents. Now, the idea here is that you can upload all the documents that you use in your sales process, so that's all in one place, and also so that other people can use documents that are helpful in your sales process, but in their sales process, okay? So this can be accessible to other users. So I'll give you an example. When I meet with people to discuss if we're a good fit to do their CRM/ERP setup and training, I'll oftentimes show them a similar client in their industry that we've set up for. And I call these things action plans. They're very detailed. They're step-by-step, exactly how we built a system for another client, but in their industry. So it just gets them thinking about, oh, this is helpful to see because you've actually done work in our industry before. Okay, so that's an example of a document that I would want uploaded to my HubSpot account or portal so that I can use it in the sales process. So instead of having it buried in my Google Drive, I can bring all these different files into the documents section so that I can use it in my sales process. So you can pull from your computer, existing files in HubSpot, Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, so that you can have it all in one place. Okay, so it makes it more convenient when you're trying to get those helpful documents in order to either help someone through the sales process. You can do a presentation. You can upload documents like PowerPoint, a PowerPoint or a slide deck that you want to go over. You can also add new folders here so that you can further organize the different files. I only have one here. You can imagine as you use this, there's going to be much more or many more documents that you're going to add here. So then we have actions. We can create a link, send it over for someone to view. We can download the asset or the document. We can delete it, move it, or manage the access so we can determine who else can see this thing. If I click into it, you can see no one has viewed this document yet. I can see who views it. I can track those views, which is very helpful. Go to create link. I can enter the address and then create the link so that I can track when they have visited. So very helpful to use the documents section when doing sales and using HubSpot to support it. It's important for you to understand the meeting scheduler within HubSpot Sales. So the way that this works is you create a scheduling page. And then once created, it will look something like this. I'll throw this into another tab for you. You can see it's a calendar view and someone's availability so you can book with them. So oftentimes in sales, we are trying to set up meetings so that we can discuss important details for moving someone through the sales process. Now, as an example, I'd want to put this on my website, okay, to book a free consultation so that people can look at my availability and then they can book through, choose a time that works for them. And then once they fill out this form, it automatically books my calendar, sends them an invite, and it makes things so much easier than just going back and forth over email. Hey, when are you available? Use a meeting scheduler. It works super well. So we're going to go through and create a scheduling page together. You can either do a one-on-one meeting scheduling page, or you can do a group one so that multiple people on your team, it will track multiple calendars, and you can do a round robin. So every time someone accesses the meeting scheduler, it goes to the next person in line. Round robin, just basically if there's 3 people on your sales team and you want to evenly distribute meetings scheduled on a contact us or book your first strategy call or book free consultation, it will go from one salesperson to the next. So that's what's helpful about round robin. So we're going to just do one-on-one. We're going to keep it simple. I'm going to do demo here and then demo. And then this is where we'd want to add a video conference link. And you could use Google Meet. You can use Zoom, whatever you'd like there. And then you can go to next. And now you can see that this is a little preview of what it's going to look like. Super helpful to be able to see that. You can configure or set up the schedule of when you're going to be available or when you want the scheduler to show that you're available. Then you have automation. You can send a confirmation email. So as soon as they're done booking, ends up in their inbox, says, hey, you booked. This is the time. Then you can do pre-meeting reminders, which is very useful as well. Once you've created this page, you can show it in a pop-up. You can get an embed code and then put it on your site. And then you can also get a link that you can send to people via email. So if they're like, hey, we're interested in working with you, send us a link. We'd love to set up an initial call. Great. Share that link. And it makes it so much easier to schedule meetings. With that, once your meeting is added, you're going to see it on this list view. And you can modify it from here with edit. You can copy that link, or you can use actions to embed that or clone that meeting if you would like. And you also have some helpful metrics to see how many people have viewed the scheduler, how many have booked, and then your conversion rate between these two. So with that, that is how you can use the meeting scheduler according to best practices within HubSpot. It's important to understand HubSpot Sales activity feed. So this is where you go to see what prospects or people that you're interested in working with or customers are doing, okay? Their activity. Now, activity is generic, so let's be more specific. You've got email opens, clicks, sent emails, lead visits to your website, prospect visits, document views, meetings, forms. These are different things that you can track within HubSpot so that you can see if you're trying to sell someone, you can see their activity. So here are some samples. Okay, so Charlotte Walker, marketing director at Rocket Salt, clicked on get the most out of your SEO email. So it shows you that there was a click with them. And then from here, you can hover over and you can call them, you can send them an email, create a task. It just allows you to be reactive to what your prospects and your customers are doing. Okay. The reason I say prospects and customers, prospects are potential customers, right? Someone who's looking into you. Customers are someone who already bought from you and you are wanting to potentially do more business with them or make sure that you're taking good care of them. So that's what you can do here in order to view activity types. This will automatically populate, and you can also go to the Chrome Web Store and you can download the HubSpot Sales extension so that you can see activity there as well. Right within your browser in Chrome. So with that, that is the activity feed within HubSpot Sales and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand the HubSpot Commerce Hub. So this is where you can go to create financial records, okay? So a financial record would be something like a quote, you telling someone how much something is going to cost. It's where you can create products which you're going to sell and put into these other financial records. You've got invoices that you can send over to people and they can pay through the invoice and much more. So we're going to go over all of these, but the Commerce Hub is where you can create financial records and then send them to other people. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Commerce products. So a product is a thing that you sell. And you can go to look at products that you've already added here. You can see a preview of a product that I've added previously. And we're going to create one together. So we're going to go over to add products, create a product, and we can either add it manually. So the name, all the properties of this product, I can add here so that when I add it to a financial record, it can populate with information such as unit price. Okay. So very straightforward. You can add products here, an image as well. What we're going to do is we're also going to show that you can import products here as well. So if you have products from a spreadsheet or another tool that you're using, great. You can take it out of that tool or from the spreadsheet, and then you can import it right into HubSpot. So that is the HubSpot Commerce product section and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Commerce invoices. So invoices is where you go to create a record and send it to somebody so they can pay for the thing that they want. So if someone's moving forward with a deal or they say, hey, we want the thing that you're offering, great, send them an invoice so they can pay for it. A couple things you can do here is you can send the invoice, they can actually pay through the invoice. So you can connect it with a payment processor like Stripe as an example, and then you'll be able to collect the funds from the sale. You can also automate your bookkeeping with two-way accounting sync in QuickBooks Online. So if you have QuickBooks Online, great, connect it. There's no hidden charges. You only there's only pay transaction fees to collect online payment. So you can create a one-time invoice or a recurring invoice. So let's say you're a marketing agency and you sell a retainer. It's $3,000 a month. Great. Create a recurring invoice. If you're an organization like mine, we set up CRM and ERP systems for people. We will create one-time invoices typically on a per milestone basis, or there's other ways to bill there as well, but we'd be doing one-time invoice. So I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to close this because I'm going to show you how to go through all of this. First, we have a billing contact. So we're going to add a contact from our database, from the CRM, and this is the person that we bill to. So now we've identified billing contacts so we can keep it clean. Not every contact in HubSpot is a billing contact. You got to be, that's important to understand. Then you have companies. What company are we going to send the invoice to? And then information like the billing address, shipping address. If you've been watching this video in order, you'll know that we created items or products. These are things that we sell. So we can select from our product library that demo product that we created, and I can select it here. It pulls in unit price and other information, which is very helpful. Then we get that summary, subtotal, total, and balance due from our new customer that we're sending an invoice to, and any comments we want. We can also do the payment collection. We have this payment collection section so that we can actually get the payment from the through the invoice. We can accept payments online. We can choose what kinds we want to accept there. And oftentimes on an invoice, you want to include information like within comments on how they can pay via other methods like ACH as an example. So once you've done this, you can hit create. It will create your invoice for you. You can copy the link and you can send it over to somebody so they can see the invoice. You can also have this PDF. And then you can also send the invoice email. So you can connect your inbox, send it out to whoever you need to send it to. So with that is how you can create an invoice. And then you can set up your online payments so that you can actually collect information through it. So you need to go through all this information. It takes you through a setup process to connect your payment processor. And then from here, you're able to collect payment and send out invoices so that people know that they need to pay for whatever they want. It's important to understand HubSpot Commerce credit memos. So this is where you can go to apply a credit, and that can reduce the amount that someone needs to pay for something. So as an example, if you overbilled a customer on the last invoice and they paid for it, they would say, hey, you overbilled us, or you would identify it and be like, hey, I overbilled you. I'm going to apply a credit to your next invoice so you pay less to make up for me overbilling you. That's an example. Another example is if you have a concession during the sales process. I'll give you an example of this. So when we build CRM ERP systems for somebody, I might say in the sales process something like this. If you do the discovery, a discovery is like a small, maybe 2 to 3 week engagement where I learn a lot about an organization. I'll say, if you do the discovery, then I'll add $1,000 development credit to development. So discovery, learning about your organization and how we're going to build your system. And then development is actually building your system. And that's just an incentive for them to do things the right way. But it's also a concession. I'm conceding $1,000. So how would that actually work inside of HubSpot in the credit memo section? If you go to create credit memo, you're going to see a screen that's similar to what you see when you create a invoice. If you've been going through this video in order, You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to add a contact. You can also add much more information here, but we're just going to go to product library, select a product. And then we are going to, from here, we're just going to scroll up and we are going to, actually, I want to see how this works. Let's finalize. Amount credited $1. Okay. It's important to understand HubSpot Commerce credit memos. So if you have overbilled someone or you've made a concession, you'll want to use credit memos. Now, overbilled, I'm just saying if you sent an invoice to somebody and they paid more than they should have, you can say, hey, I noticed this, or they'll bring it up to you. And you'll say, we'll just apply a credit to your next purchase to reduce the amount that you pay to make up for it. Or a concession. If you don't know what a concession is, I'll give you a quick example. When I'm selling a CRM/ERP setup in training service to somebody, I might tell them that, hey, we're going to do a discovery first. We're going to take 2 to 3 weeks and learn as much as we can about your organization, because the better we understand your organization, the better we can build a system to support it. And they might say, yeah, but we'd rather you just get into development. And I'll say, you know what? If you do the discovery, I'll give you $1,000 development credit. So it will knock off $1,000 from the total price of actually building the system. And that concession is just a way to motivate or influence the buyer to move forward. So in that situation, how do we actually create the credit inside of HubSpot? You can go to Create Credit Memo here at the top right, and you'll notice a record creation page here that's similar to what you'd see when creating an invoice. If you've gone through this video in order, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to add a contact here. Got to make sure that there's a credit memo number there too. And then we're going to add a product here. And once we add the product, we can actually modify this. And then once we create it, once we finalize this, you'll notice that the amount credited is 50 cents. So how do we actually take this credit and apply it to an invoice, right? Because right now it's just sitting there. There is credit on somebody's account or on the record, but it hasn't been applied. Well, if we go to invoices and I click into an invoice, you'll notice here we've got actions. And I can go here and click on apply or manage credit. So we want to click on that. Then we can add available credit, 50 cents. And you'll notice that it went from $1. It deducted the credit memo balance. So now it's just 50 cents. So we've applied now the credit to the invoice. So with that, we have now created a credit memo and we've applied it to an invoice. And with that, that is how you can use the HubSpot Commerce credit memos according to best practices. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Commerce payments. So if you connect a payment processor such as Stripe with your account, it allows you to accept payment through HubSpot. And you can also process secure payments with HubSpot's tools, which is great. You can see an example of that right here. And also, you can accept payments through different objects or record types, like payment links, invoices, subscriptions, quotes, and more. You can use these the payment section to segment lists, and you can build automations reporting on top of this. So you have to enroll first. You got to make sure you go through the enrollment section. But once you've done that, once you've gone through all this information, you can then create a payment link and collect payments right from HubSpot. And with that, that is an overview of HubSpot Commerce payments and how it works. It's important that you understand HubSpot Commerce payment links. Now, these are links that you can create to actually collect the money when you're selling something. So we're going to create one together. We're going to start with a fresh payment link here, and I'm going to select a demo product, and I'm going to put the name here, demo. From here, we're going to go over to settings, and we want to make sure that we have a form of payment that we'll accept, which would be credit or debit card. That's what we want to start with here. There's other settings that you can configure to make this work the way that you want as well. From here, I'm going to preview this. You'll see here's the form people fill out. They put in their payment details and they can pay us. We can also make this a one-time use thing, or they can come here multiple times to pay. Once I click on create, you'll notice the page here is ready to go. So I can also test it to make sure it's working in the test mode. But once I've done that, I now have the payment link ready to go. I can copy it and send it over to someone so I can collect the money for the thing that someone is buying. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Commerce subscriptions. So this is where you can set up a subscription to collect payment from somebody on a regular basis. So we're going to add a subscription to make more sense of this. We have a similar page here to what you'd see on a credit memo when creating a credit memo or an invoice. I'm going to go to add contact. We're going to make sure it's associated to a contact here. We're going to select the demo product for the line item. And then from here, we have two options. We can either select automatically charge the subscription, or we can manually collect payment on each invoice. So at this point, we just send the invoice and they could pay through the invoice, pay via invoice, or I can automatically collect the money on a routine basis. One key thing here, we need to make sure that this product is not on the billing frequency one time. It's got to be on a routine basis, right? So we're going to do monthly for this one and save it. And then we would be able to do this, but we need to connect a payment processor. And because this is a demo account, I'm not going to do that. But you know that if you set up the payment processor, you can automatically charge. And then we also want to accept online payments, but again, you need to make sure that the payment processor is set up there. From there, we're going to go to create subscription. And now the subscription will be active and you can view all your subscriptions from this records view page in the subscriptions section. Also, if you need to set up your online payments, there will be a section up here. You can click on it and it will take you through the setup of the payment processor. So with that, that is the HubSpot Commerce subscriptions and how you can use them according to best practices. It's important that you understand the HubSpot Service Hub. This is where you go to provide customer support or customer success. So the difference between the two is customer support is reactive. So if someone has an issue or a concern and they need help, then they will send a request to you. They'll send you an email or they'll call customer support and you can give them the help that they need. But that's you waiting for them to have an issue and then coming to you. So it's reactive. You're reacting to them calling you, emailing you, whatever they do to start things. Customer success is proactive. You're not waiting for somebody to come to you with an issue. You understand the service or product that you're selling and you want to set them up for success. So you send them helpful resources and things so that you get ahead of the issue. So you can send them emails, resources, you can call them, set up an onboarding call, whatever you need to do. But customer success is about being proactive instead of reactive. So with that, that is an overview of the HubSpot Service Hub. It's important for you to understand HubSpot service chat flows. So this is where you go to set up a chatbot. So if you don't know what a chatbot is, usually at the bottom right of a screen when you're on a website, you can click on it and then it will open a window and then you can start to chat with somebody. So you can make it automatic or manual and you can choose how much you want it to be automated. I'm going to show you how to set this up inside of HubSpot. We're going to start with create chat flow and you're going to see website. We're going to click on that and then it's going to say, hey, you actually have to set up chat as a channel before you create the chat flow. So we're going to set up the chat. We're going to go to web. We're going to go to next, and we're going to make sure that the chat bot is created first. So we're going to go to next. We're going to make sure that the availability is open here. And then we're just going to go through all the default for now. And this one's going to be a manual one. It's going to automatically assign to a person on our team so that we can reply to the messages. You might be thinking to yourself, well, when they send a message, like, where is it going to go inside of HubSpot? It's a great question. Here's a preview real quick so you can see it. And then I'm going to publish this thing. So you actually view the messages that they send to you in the inbox. So if you've been going through this video in order, you'll remember inside of the CRM section, there's an inbox. And we can also connect other channels if we want to, but we're going to keep it simple here, view message in inbox. So now you're going to see that there is a chat section here that we can go to. And this is where all the conversations are coming in if they have chatted with us. So now that that is set up, we can go back to service and then chat flows. And then you can see a new chat flow has been created. If we go into more, we can go to the inbox settings and further configure that, or we can just go to edit and make this chat work the way that we want it to work. We can also use the knowledge base. We can enable that on a higher plan of HubSpot. And then we can go to target. Got some different options here to target visitors on certain pages and things like that. And we have some other options to further configure this chatbot. So with that, that is how chat flows works and an overview of how you can use it according to best practices. It's important that you understand data management. Now, this is the hub that you can go to in order to make sure that your data is cleaned up and that you have the information that you need in your system. We're going to get way more into the specifics of what that means for you. But with that, that's data management. Let's get into it. It's important that you understand data agent within data management. So data agent is where you go to create smart properties. So think about it like this. When you are on a record, sometimes you'll copy and paste information onto a record into something like ChatGPT or Gemini, some kind of AI tool, and you'll say, tell me about this. Do research online, find how many employees there are for this company, something like that. Well, instead of doing all that manually, we can automate that with a smart property. So a smart property, I'm going to show you an example. What was the agreed upon next steps? Okay, so this is instead of you copying and pasting all the information from a specific record, from the activities, and pasting it into an AI chatbot, you can just create this as a smart property. So preview prompt, we're going to see, it's going to show us now an example of a specific record. You'll see here, it shows the contact record and it doesn't output anything. Why? Because that's a demo record. It doesn't have activities, but if it did, it would show you there. So that's just one thing I want to show you. You can preview those prompts. Yours would work here as long as you have activities, because look, that's the source is the activity. And from here, you can save the prompt and then you can choose the object, right? So now it's saying, hey, do you want to save this as a smart property? And you can choose the object type, that'd be the contact. The property label would be agreed next steps. Field type will be single line of text. You could apply some rules if you want. And then here you go, data agent prompt, make this smart property and let data agent research and fill this property for you. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we want to do here. Want it to be a smart property. And then you have the prompt here, which is what was the agreed upon next steps. And then that's the prompt. So that's like you asking AI, what was the agreed upon next steps? But AI is like, based on what? And you're saying the data source, activities, and transcripts. If you remember when we went over the records, if you've been watching this video in the order that it's been created, then you'll know that inside of the record, we went over to activities and as transcripts for your different discussions as well. So you can preview the result for a specific record. Again, this doesn't have activities and transcripts, so it's not going to show up anything, but it gives you an idea of how it's going to work. So then you hit create and fill options, or you can hit edit more options. And this edit allows you to further control how this is going to look. So let's say it says single line text. I'm like, I need multi-line text. Multi-line text is a bigger field. This is going to work better, or it's a bigger field and I want that in the property. Great, you could do that. Then you can determine the rules here. Then you can preview within the multi-line field now. So this just allows you greater control of how it's going to work. Then you can see here, where should this data come from? Activities and transcripts. These are your options: web research, property data, and then activities and transcripts. These are different ways that we can gather information for the data agent. What do you want to know? What was the agreed upon next steps? Again, treat this like you're prompting the AI. Okay, this is the question that's built into the field. And then you can again preview the record. And then here's the autofill. We want to make sure that's selected. So if I wanted to create this, I'd hit create. I'm not going to, because this is a demo and I want to show you one other thing. If you just want to create it from scratch, You can go to the top and hit create smart property. I actually did this from the save prompt. Okay, so instead of them just leaving it to your imagination, they're saying, hey, maybe these are some ideas that you might want to consider based on what your company does. Okay, so that can be helpful. Or you can just say, I already know what I want. I'm going to go here and I'm going to create the smart property right now. So I'm going to ask the question, and then I'm going to create the property, and it will take you through the same set of fields that we already went through. Another thing here is the prompt library. So it'll generate different prompts that you can take a look at. Current CRM sales platform. It can do a lot for you. Current CRM customer database platform. What CRM or customer database platform does the company currently use? You can use this prompt and it will do web research. See, the source isn't on the record. We want the AI to go do research on the web, search things on Google, find stuff for us, and then return information. Okay, so very helpful. The way I would think about this, and we don't have any smart properties here, but this is where we'd go to manage them. So we can see all the smart properties across the entire, our entire HubSpot system, and we can make sure that we're managing them properly. The way I would think about Data Agent is it's not, it's basically helping you gather information that you don't already have using AI. And this is, a lot of us are doing this right now manually, right? We're copying information, we're taking it to AI and having it do research for us based on record information or based on looking through the internet. Instead of doing that manually, you can now automate that with Data Agent, and that's how you can use it according to best practices. It's really important that you understand data integration within data management. This is where you go to make sure that you have the information you need inside of HubSpot. So what does that actually mean? Well, if you have a spreadsheet laying around and it has a bunch of contacts, companies, or records that you want to bring into HubSpot, great. You can import a file. That's one option you have. Another option you have is you can sync from apps. So if you want to make sure that HubSpot is synced up with, let's say, Salesforce, if you're using Salesforce on top of, in tandem with HubSpot, great. This is a certified app. You can install it and make sure this integration is in place. That's just an example for you. You can also transfer your data. So let's say you're on Salesforce and you actually want to move away from Salesforce completely onto HubSpot. You can transfer your data. You can see Salesforce here, their account engagement, which was Pardot. You can move that over and all these other CRMs as well. You got a bunch of different options. This is a tool to help you transfer the information over in a way that maintains the relationships between the data and just makes things smoother. Okay, so that's smart transfer. You also have this option, but you need to upgrade to the Data Hub. And this is where you can build smarter segments. It allows you to use data across your tech stack to create segments that power more personalized campaigns. Okay, so that's another thing you can do inside of data integration. So with that, data integration allows you to bring information into HubSpot. You also have an option to sync with other applications. So as you make changes in HubSpot, it will reflect in other apps as well. So with that, that is the data integration section and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important that you understand event management within data management. So when we talk about events here, we're talking about something that happened. Okay, so a very general definition, not to be confused with, if we go over to marketing, there's events here. So it's a bit confusing because centralize and manage your marketing events. We're bringing these events over. These are like hosted, like Zoom calls, webinars, and in-person meetings, okay? That's the events it's talking about here, which is different than what we're doing inside of event management within data management. This is any kind of interaction that somebody has with the company. So if we want to track when somebody visited the website, if we want to track when someone filled out a form, things like that, that's the kind of event we're talking about here. And with the plan that I have, I can integrate with other applications, okay? So I can say, hey, they interacted with an email. Their email activity here was they opened a MailChimp campaign that I sent out. Because some people aren't using HubSpot Marketing Hub, they're just using MailChimp, okay? HubSpot Marketing Hub can do a lot more than MailChimp, by the way. But some people are using it and they want to integrate. Great. You can click on here, and then you can see the different pieces of data or events, information that's coming over from MailChimp to HubSpot and what that looks like. So the reason that you'd want to do this is if you are using another application and you want to make sure the information you're getting there from MailChimp as an example, or PandaDoc, you want to see when did they actually look at the proposal or contract that you last sent. Great. Go in there, set up the integration, and then you will start to see those different events inside of HubSpot. So that allows you to manage those events. And then also you can create targeted campaigns based on those events. So if you want to send out an email to people who have opened proposals from PandaDoc, you can do that within HubSpot. So you can bring the data from PandaDoc into HubSpot, and then using event management, you're able to create a segment or a group from those contacts who've actually opened a proposal, email, whatever event you want to use for segmentation. So with that, this allows you to create events. You can also create custom events, but you have to upgrade your plan. In order to do that, you need Marketing Hub Enterprise for that to create your own. But with that, that is how you can use event management according to best practices. It's important that you understand data model within data management. So this is where you can go to see all the different record types referred to as objects within the system, and then how they relate to each other. You'll notice as I hover over these, we see the relationship of this record type with other record types or objects. I'm using record types and objects interchangeably. You can also just look at it through list view, but it's cool to see in this view all these different records and how they relate to each other. Why is this important? Well, when you're building a system, you need to make sure that the records exist in the right way and relate to each other in the right way so that they work for your organization. And so that is the data model overview view. We're going to go to limits as well. So these are the different number of records that exist within each object. And then there's other options we can look through here for how they associate to each other. We can look at custom properties, calculated properties, association labels, and pipelines. So we're just getting an idea of, hey, what different record types exist and how many records are within each of those. And then how can we make sure that we're not brushing up against these limits if we have lots of data. Got analysis here as well. So we can view updates on how many records are being added. This is for contacts specifically, but I could jump over to any kind of record that I want to, or record type or object here to look at what's going on. So it gives me a visual representation of how many contacts are being added over time. And the intro here, this will give you suggestions. So with AI, it's cool. You can explain what your company does, and it will give you ideas or suggestions of what kind of objects or properties. You'll notice here the service property. It'll give you an idea of these different properties that you can enable. So service is often used in our industry. Great. Company email, that would be helpful. It's giving us suggestions of different properties and different objects that we can add there. Then within the overview too, we can actually click into different specific record types. And we can go to specific properties here and look at how they relate or associate to other objects as well. Then we can see where it's being used. So very helpful to zoom out, see if you have the objects required to support your organization and processes. And that is where you can go to do this is data model. And that's how you can use data model according to best practices. It's important that you understand data enrichment within data management. So this is where you're going to go in order to make sure that the properties that already exist are filled out, and that when they are filled out, they're filled out correctly. Let's be more specific. So we have formatting issues. So let's say you have a property called country and region. You've probably seen this all the time with messy data. Some people will put in USA. Some people will put in U.S.A. Some people will put United States of America. Some people will put United States. So there's, a lot of variations of how you can put in one piece of data. So let's track these. Let's have properties that are being monitored or looked at by the system, and then automatically formatting them in a consistent way. That way, we don't have lots of messy data sets that are hard to report on or to
hard to manage. So 0 records have formatting issues. That's because I have a demonstration instance. Yours would look different from this. And then you can go about standardizing those data types within data quality. Then you can go to data enrichment here. Now, data enrichment is where you're going to use AI to populate existing properties. So let's say employee range or description for the description for the contact. These are fields that should be filled out or properties that should be filled out for every record, but sometimes they're not, okay? They already exist, but we want to populate these fields because it's valuable information. I can go to view enrichment settings and then put automatically enrich new records. So automatically fills empty properties. So instead of requiring someone to fill out so tedious every single property when they are creating a record, you can automatically enrich companies and contacts with information after it's created. Very useful to be able to do this. It reduces a lot of the headache of manually putting in data all the time. We have some other options here, but the big thing is these existing properties, we want to make sure they're filled out correctly with data enrichment. Also here, the big difference between what we're talking about with data enrichment and data agent is focused on these new records, right? Or these new properties. So you'll see the data agents also, it's got a little call to action here for you to see how it works. The data agent is separate and it's creating a new property for a new insight that you want. Data enrichment is focusing on these existing properties and making sure that they're filled out after someone creates the record. Also, you have this up here that's showing you kind of the value of the enrichment. And the idea behind this is it can say, hey, you enriched this many contacts that became qualified leads. You enriched this many deals or contacts that became a closed won deal or were associated to a closed won deal. So it's kind of trying to tie a dollar amount or a specific action to your enrichment properties. But to attribute success due to enrichment, I don't know. It's just a cool view for you to see, hey, you enriched this and this is what happened. It's kind of a correlation and causation thing, right? This is more of a correlation. I doubt it's more of a causation. But with that is how you're able to see this. Then you can also narrow down your enrichment view to a specific segment. But with that is the data enrichment section within data management and how to use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand the HubSpot automation section. This is where you can go to build workflows that can do work for you so that you can get more done while doing less. If you want to create specific workflows, you need to make sure that you upgrade to at least the professional plan within HubSpot. You'll see this is included in Sales, Service, Marketing, and Data Hub Professional. But these are what the workflows look like. You probably used a workflow builder before. The popular one is Zapier. It's similar to that. With that, here's a quick overview of different automations suggested by HubSpot so that you can further automate the work that you're doing. So with that, that's a quick overview of the HubSpot automation section. It's important for you to understand HubSpot reporting. This is where you go to see information in a helpful way so that you can make better decisions. You can make goals, which are specific things you're trying to achieve, reports. It's a flexible way to view information, either in a visual way, like a bar chart, or in a tabular way, which looks more like a spreadsheet. And you have dashboards, which is just multiple reports, as you can see here, put together so that you don't have to jump from report to report. You can have one place you go to see all the reports that you need. So with that is the HubSpot reporting section overview, and we'll go over each of these in more detail. It's important that you understand HubSpot reports within reporting. So this is where you go in order to see information in a way that's helpful so you can make better decisions. You'll notice I'm going here to create and then down to create report. If I click on this, it will give me some suggested templates to use. Now, if I want to create one from scratch, a report from scratch, I can do that, but I would need to upgrade my plan. So it is possible to make these custom to your liking. We're going to use form submission totals.
just to give you an idea of what the report builder is capable of. So I'm going to click here, and you can see that if I had submitted a form here, I could see how many times people have viewed a form, how many people have submitted the form, and then the form itself. And I can see these two key performance indicators, and I can see then that information on the views and submissions right here. And then the conversion rate, which is of the views, how many, what percent actually submitted the form. So I can save this report. And then I can put form submission totals, the report name, the description. I can generate a description using AI, which is kind of cool. And then I can also add this report to a dashboard. I'm going to say no for now. We're going to go to next. Now we decide who accesses this. I'm going to give it to everybody in the organization, but I could limit the visibility of this report if I wanted to. So now we have form submissions total. This is a report that's been created. I can also go to my custom reports, but again, in order to create those, you need to upgrade your plan. And then with that, you can also go to favorites. If you mark one of these stars, it'll appear in favorites for you. And then if you go over to create, you can also jump to the dashboard section to create a dashboard, and you can create a report with AI. So your Breeze Assistant can do that for you as well. You can go to actions. You can restore deleted reports and manage recurring shares, which is a way to send or share a report with someone on a recurring basis. You can also export this view of the different reports that you have into a CSV so that you can look through that in a raw data format. So with that, that is the report section, how you can create a report and manage them according to best practices. It's important for you to understand HubSpot dashboards within reporting. So the way that dashboards work is you're wanting to see multiple reports on one page instead of jumping to each report individually. So we're going to create a new dashboard here. Although there are suggested templates that we can use, we're going to create one from scratch. We're going to go to demo here, and we're going to allow everyone to see this dashboard. I'll hit create now. Now this dashboard has been saved. Now it's time to add different reports to it. So you'll notice if I go to ready-made reports, we have form submission total. We can add that. And we can also add landing pages by views and add campaigns with the cost per click. So the reason that this is helpful is now I don't have to go to each report in the report section. I can view all the reports that are relevant to me in one place. I can add filters. I can jump to different reports if I've added multiple. I can manage all my dashboards by clicking on this. We'll talk about that in a moment. I can create additional dashboards by clicking on that. Actions here, I can clone some other different actions I can complete here, going full screen. And I can share this with people. So I can copy the URL, send it over to somebody so that they can view it and access it, or I can email that directly to someone who needs to see this. I can also add additional content. When we're talking content, we're talking different elements that exist here, like a report, which we've added, image or text. We can create a new report and create a new report with AI. I can also switch around how this appears. So if I want this to be a little bigger, great. And if I want to change where it is on the canvas, I can do that as well. So it's highly customizable, which means you can get it to look the way that you want, so you can see the information the way that you need. You can also look at the settings for specific reports and change those here. So it's a very powerful tool. We can go to manage dashboards now. We can zoom out and see all the different dashboards and reports that have been created that are yours. And then you can jump in here, click on actions, see that same list of actions, and then click into the dashboard itself to view it. So with that, that is HubSpot dashboards within reporting and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important that you understand goals within reporting. So a goal is a specific thing that you want to achieve. So I'm going to show you how to create these and what it looks like. We're going to go to create goal. We can create from a template. Creating from scratch, you got to upgrade your portal plan. In order to do that, we're going to create from a template. And you can see here, we can set this goal. Let's set a revenue goal. We can view the definition. So about this goal, this is in sales. On the deals object, you need to know what record type it's based on. And then how is the data aggregated? It's a sum of the different revenue from the deals object. And then we're using the USD just the United States dollar in order to determine how close we are to that goal. Okay, so goal name, we'll put demo rev goal. We'll just put revenue goal. Contributors, these are different people or users of the HubSpot system that we want to add here. And we can see the cadence, which is, hey, do we want to break this down by week, month, or quarter? We're going to go with monthly. We're going to go to next. And we're going to select the pipeline and then apply the target, okay? Which is, what do we want them to hit? We want them to hit $100,000 every single month. Well, great. We can paste that, and that will help us determine the goals. Then go to next. And from here, we set notifications. So we want different goal contributors, which are the users we selected, to receive notification that this has started, or when they exceed it, and or when they exceed it, when they've achieved it, or if they miss it. So after the period for the goal, if they miss their goal, we want them to understand that too. So this way, instead of you just saying, this is a goal of ours for an organization and then never seeing it again, this is a way to bake your goals into the system so that you actually have some form of accountability. So you don't want to say a goal and have it just go out into the middle of nowhere. You want to make sure that these goals, you can actually go somewhere to say, hey, what are our goals, and are we close to hitting them? And what is our progress for hitting them, or have we already hit them? So these are the different goals that we have. We can create reports on top of these goals. We can create additional ones or manage our goals here. And then we can export our goals if we want to analyze the information somewhere else. So with that, that is the goals section of within reporting and how you can use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand Breeze within HubSpot. So Breeze is the AI system within HubSpot, and there's two big parts of this. So there's Breeze Assistants, and these are conversational AIs right here that you can chat with in order to learn more and do more with the assistant. Then you have the agents, and they're actually doing work for you. One unique thing here about the Breeze Assistant is you can connect it to certain information using the knowledge vaults. So if you want to, for example, create an agent or an assistant here that can see all of your standard operating procedures, which are step-by-step manuals on how to do things in your organization, great. You can train one of these agents on your knowledge so that you can chat with your SOPs instead of digging through all of them. Someone can ask a question about something they're doing, great. Breeze will teach them how to do it. So that's the assistant. Let's talk about agents. If you look through Breeze Marketplace, you're going to see these different agents. So what's cool about these is, and we talked about one of them, the data agent, right? Creates smart properties. But these other things will do some pretty cool automations for you automatically. So call, recap, agent. Every time you make a call, it'll look through the transcript and it will transform the transcript into notes and follow-up emails. Super helpful. When you add this thing, what you'll notice is if we go to open here, well then in the inbox, we will see the form for the specific agent. We have to put in the call transcript, company name, contact email address, and then we can run the agent. And we can further configure this so that the agent works the way that we want. So we'll get into more of the details there, but I wanted to show you two examples of both an agent and an assistant so you can better understand Breeze and how to use it according to best practices. It's important for you to understand Breeze Studio within Breeze. So Breeze Studio is where you can go to create agents and assistants and then see those conversations in your inbox. We'll talk about that in a moment. So here we have these quick starts where we can add an agent or an assistant. And we also have different agents in the marketplace, which are agents that have been pre-built that you can just enable. Talked a little bit about the data agent. You'll remember that if you've gone through this video in order. Not completely fine. We're going to go over it together. So with run agents, you can see different agents that you already have that you can enable, but we're going to create an agent here from scratch just to show you how it all works. Or we're going to take one that's pre-built and then configure it so you can see how it all works. So we are going to take this company research agent as an example, and we're going to add it. And you'll see now that it appears in the inbox of Breeze Studio. So if I back out of here just to show you where this actually went, if I go over to Breeze Studio, you'll see Inbox, and that's how you get to this page here. We still need to run the agent, and once we run the agent, we'll see it in the inbox here. So this is where we'd put the company name, and then we'd run the agent, and then you can see here that it's doing research on this company for us automatically. Now it exists here in the inbox. And it hasn't, since this is a demo system, we'll see what it will be able to do, but you can see here now, if I refresh, it will show in the inbox that there is now an inbox. There's now a conversation or something happening here with one of the agents. So that is helpful to understand that it can run this different information. Now let's dive deeper. What is this actually doing? If we go to configure, you'll notice here that we have a couple options. So number one, what this agent needs from users, the domain or company name. So we're managing what is the form, what information needs to go in here before it can work. And then from here, we are just putting in instructions for the agent. This will be familiar to you if you've created custom GPTs or custom gems within Gemini, things like that. There's some similarities here. There's extra instructions if you want to add. This is really just a prompt for the AI. And then you can decide what this agent's able to do. So they can research company news. These are the different actions that it can take. Can it browse on the web? Can it access our hubs? Can it access the HubSpot system records? And then you're giving it permission to use different tools, different actions. And what essentially it's doing is once it has the prompt, it's reading through these different actions and deciding which of these are applicable. It's reading the descriptions of the specific actions. And then based on the description of the tool, it's deciding to trigger them. Really cool ability that AI has to do this. And you can test it on the right-hand side as you build it. You can also add knowledge. So not just tools, knowledge. And knowledge is basically you saying, hey, we have information already built in the system, our brand kits, ideal customer profiles. These are our products. This is the information I want you to know. And the way I think about it too is these are usually like documents too. Like you can add SOPs or different documents here. So instead of it just knowing information in the records, like the brand kit, this is a document showing our brand kit. That's kind of a way I like to think about it. You've got automate this agent, and you can run this agent manually in Breeze Studio or set a trigger to run it automatically. So you can do that as well. So once you have the agent configured to your liking, you can publish that. You can clone it or open and then run the experience so that you can test it out. So that is how you create an agent. We're going to create an assistant now. And the difference is the agent is doing work for us, which is helpful. But an assistant is a little different. An assistant is us having a conversation with the AI. And we want to be able to access our assistants here. So we hit Breeze AI, and then we can add an assistant here as well. And when we create a assistant, I'll use this ICP assistant for you. Helps you refine ideas against your ICP. So it's basically a chat AI that is focused on a specific thing. And I have to keep the definition generic like that because you can do so many different things here. So if I add this, then I'm able to open it, and we're in Inbox now. Refresh. It's giving me a hard time here. We're going to make sure this is opening correctly. And you'll see here, this is actually kind of nice. It's unable to load the assistant, but that's because we haven't necessarily built out the ICP, which is fine. We can use the brand assistant here. This will work just fine. Should work just fine. Perfect. And you'll see here, it's not coming through, but that's completely fine. Basically, the way that this works is it is creating a assistant for you, and then you can chat with the assistant. And it can also pull information from the section here for knowledge. So it can connect to the knowledge vaults as well. So that's an overview of both the agents that you can create there and the assistants that you can create within Breeze. It's important that you understand Breeze knowledge vaults. The idea behind this is that you can create data sources so that when you are having a conversation with AI, it actually knows documents, and things about your organization. So let's create a vault. This will show you how it works. I'm going to do demo here, demo, and we're going to we can add different files. So a suggestion here would be if you have standard operating procedures for your organization, you can upload files here in different document types. And you can also add HubSpot content. So blog posts, landing pages, things that you've built. And then you can also add different segments. These are groups of people or groups of records within HubSpot. So from here, you got to make sure that something is added here. We're going to add the homepage here, but now it understands it's not just a generic conversation now that we can have. We can actually have a conversation with an AI agent who understands specific data sources. Now, I didn't have a real homepage published there, so it's not going to go through, but I'm just showing you the process of taking content, uploading that to your Knowledge Vault. And the reason that that is helpful is now when you go to create a useful AI conversation, a more useful AI assistant, you'll go into Breeze Studio, you can add the assistant. And when you add the assistant, you're going to be able to connect it with that specific knowledge. So I'll show you here really quickly how this works. We're actually going to go a different direction. I'm going to go to Breeze Studio. We're going to go to Inbox. I'm going to click on this specific research agent. We're going to configure this guy. And you'll notice as I go to configure this, you're going to notice at the bottom here, we can add knowledge. And now I can add this demo, right? This demo, so it understands our homepage of the website. Now you'd want to further clarify like what the AI is going to do so you can determine what knowledge it needs to have, but you could create an AI agent that is able to look at all of your SOPs so people can ask questions about it and give you an idea of what's happening. So very useful to use knowledge vaults to give specific information to the AI so that it will understand your situation and what you're needing to accomplish better. It's important for you to understand HubSpot Breeze Marketplace. So this is where you can go to see pre-built or configured AI agents or Breeze agents that you can enable quickly and start to use. So it's nice to scroll down. You can see what are popular ones. We talked about data agent as well. That's if you go up to data management, that's the agent we've talked about that can fill in customer data via smart properties. We can see all of these beta ones too that they're testing. It's pretty cool. You can click on each of these individually, see how they work, what kind of output they give for you so that you can use AI better within HubSpot. So with that, that is a quick overview of Breeze Marketplace. You can see pre-built agents and configure them and add them to your system so that you can better use AI in your organization. It's important to understand development within HubSpot. So this is the section you go to if you are a developer and you need to do more advanced development within HubSpot. So you got an overview. This is the command line interface. If you want to be able to install that and use that, you can create a HubSpot app here. There's lots of different sections here to make sure that you can further develop the HubSpot system to meet the needs and requirements of your organization. So that is a quick overview of the development section and why it exists and how you can use it in order to build HubSpot to work the way that you need it to. It's important for you to understand how to use the HubSpot mobile application. So if you want to get this, go onto your mobile device, go to the Play Store, App Store, wherever you go to download apps and get the official HubSpot mobile application. Once you've done that, sign in and you will see a page like we're seeing here. Now we're going to go over the basics. So on the home page, this is where you can get a snapshot of what's going on, similar to what you see on the desktop version, except obviously things are more compressed here. We can reorder these things though. We can customize how it appears on our screen, which is very helpful. The main value that you get here is that you can use HubSpot on the go. There's many teams or people who need this capability and feature. At the top left, you can see here that we can choose our experience, marketing, or we can choose sales, and that will determine what shows up in our mobile app, which is very helpful. Also, what we're going to do here is I'm just going to show you on the left-hand side, you're going to see contacts, companies, deals, tickets. Those are the different objects in the CRM.
And then you can see that there's certain sections from the desktop version here as well. Segments, task feeds, calls, meeting links, marketing email, files, etc. So if you need to jump and access those sections, you can certainly do that. And you can even go into settings here as well. There's a few settings that you can configure. From here, you'll notice that some of the objects that appear on the left-hand side, like contacts, also appear here at the bottom as contacts here. So you can actually jump to the different sections from the bottom as well. You can also search for records. So you can search for Drew, and then you'll see all the different records in the organization that are relevant to whatever you search for. It's very helpful. You can access Breeze. So if you want to access your Breeze assistant, you can have that conversation in the mobile application, which is very, very helpful. So those are the basic capabilities and features of the HubSpot mobile application and how you can use it according to best practices.